Chapter 31. Old Castle Rape Aurora. Diane, you are listening at Novel Full. Audio. After leaving the desert with several break landings, we arrive at the city of Shrance in the southern part of Trot by the time the day is leaning. Shrance is the third city of Trot Kingdom besides the royal capital Trot and Folklore in the west, and is one of the oldest capitals in the history of this kingdom. I myself have never come here, but it is known for historical sites such as the old architectural church, the beautiful castle, and the fort. It is said that the blacksmith technology of the kingdom comes from Shrance, and it not only produced swords and spears, they also made hammers, axes, mails and combat weapons favorite by dwarves and ogres. A very old-fashioned city. Municipal enforcement, surely it was 600 years ago. I got into a workshop after a while, and I feel that rumors related to such festival have flowed. It was 12 years ago from now when I came here with my mother, who was on the search of a business opportunity. On a hill overlooking the city, we wait for Layla to turn back into her human form and then release her illusion. There are only abandoned fortresses near here, and the opposite side of the hill is a broad wheat field and orchard. It is also confirmed that farmers aren't nearby. Perhaps if we hide in the shade of trees and put on a simple illusion, we won't be troubled by being accused of seeing a flying horse carriage. So what do we do, Diane? Do you want to stay in an inn? That's right. Just from the information that we got from Celesta, we don't know the state of this city. Andy, is impossible, and Zeros, and Jean. Look at the state of the city and please check if there are vacant rooms in an inn. Yes, yes. Indeed, it is only a matter of sleeping in the horse-drawn carriage when the inns are full, but once you get down to the city, it will be hard to get back. So I thought it would be okay if I just get down to the town, but apparently, it seems to me that disguise illusion shielding makes it more uncomfortable for people around me. When they get too close, it seems there is a possibility that Layla's gigantic body will be seen just by consciousness concentrating on the intelligent person. I hope there is a wider uninhabited area, but Shrance has no rich acquaintance, so it doesn't go that way. Well, traveling incognito is troublesome, Layla sighs. And Zero's wearing a large hat and Jean with noisy metal armor and a hammer. Diane nodded. It's nice to have Becker.San at such time. There is no worry of battle ability, and he is familiar anywhere because he is a human. He is also fast, can hide and can gather information. I see. 100. Man Special Duty Commander Becker is a human who can be relied on in any situation. And Zeros, take this with you. Diane removes the stock from her crossbow which was in the baggage of the carriage and throws it to Zeros. The stock is carved with a crest which makes Diane's magic very effective. And there is also the ability to deliver Owen's voice directly to Diane. Talk to it, if you can get an in. I can't answer, but I hear it immediately and come to your side. Understood. And Zeros carefully put it away. See you, leave it to me. The ancient city of Shrance. I don't know what racial discrimination remains even though they succumb to Celesta. But Zeros, who know the selfishness of Trot, hides her ears so that she looks like a usual pretty girl, and Jean doesn't need to do it as there is a relatively large number of dwarves in this country. It would be much safer to precede than a high-ranking elf like Aurora, the dark elf sisters Diane and Hilda, and a dangerous Layla in many ways. All of them are so strong. I also have gone. Selenium seems to be dissatisfied a little. Well, it's not good to go by a large number of people, and Selenium is originally a foreigner, yes. But I walked around looking for Andy.San and I got accustomed to the raging waves of the public then. And Zeros.San, well, little knowledge of the local people versus a genius traveler who is familiar with racial discrimination. Diane's judgment isn't good either, but it is difficult to let two half-elves go out than one half-elf and a dwarf. By the time the two contacted us, Selenium and Layla concealed the carriage. Hilda.San casts a spell on my leg again by humming. Diane and Aurora try to accompany me because I want to see the ruins of the fort. Trot's fortress is a small isle. I heard that Trot doesn't use ogre's soldiers much. Even if they were used, they can't be promoted too much as they are engineers, hammer-wielding personnel, etc., but still, they are strong. They became the ruler of the Northwest Plains, with their sword brigade. For better or worse, it is a country of a proud tradition. The population is easy to increase as the lifetime is short, and the cycle to unconventional due to technical research and new winds is also fast, so if you limit races in this way, it is easy to transfer technology and it is possible to handle the facilities which are difficult for ogres to move, which is the maximum breakthrough power here. Is it that it isn't a necessarily mistake to dwell on a race? There is a benefit to anything that is done in this world. That's it. We have our way, too, but it isn't to turn our eyes off, so you can learn where you can learn. I understand. Diane and Aurora are talking about the military seriously. I don't see the big picture, so I'm going to exercise my mind by listening to it. In fact, Aurora is still a young person with a good lineage and is attracting attention from everyone. She would eventually become a master knight and a vessel that would lead an army. Diane is a real war hero. I'm out of place in this situation. I'm a little disappointed with regret. I remember Anzirosa's love talk from last night as she seduced me mischievously. If you want to do it, anytime, anywhere, I will remove my clothes as you wish, without trying to get the consent of someone and suddenly pushing in. I'm sure no one will hate it. I've been awfully excited. I attacked Diane from behind and pressed her against the tattered stone wall. Lifting up her skirt, I pulled down her hips and pushed my dick inside from the side of her panty. Ignoring Diane's restraining voice, I attached myself to her womb and ejaculated. And then Aurora, who is stunned as it is also thrown down. Diane looked at me, who had a super scruffy face, with a suspicious face. What's the matter, Andy? No, nothing. Is that so? It looks like you had a strangely lonely face. Diane intently said that to me. I tightened my face a bit. However, it is Diane that would allow it after all, though it is possible to do here, and my face is embarrassed. On the other hand, how about Aurora? If I suddenly rape her here, it seems she will resist strongly. Even Diane would stop if I attack Aurora suddenly. That's why I feel like I want to try something very much. As Anziro said, are our words on par? Or is it just a raving of excitement? I want to try Aurora with the lowest degree of familiarity. Such an impulse rises sharply from the bottom of my belly, though I think that it is the lowest. And, leaving a moment's hesitation, it overflowed. Let's do it. But Diane. Sama, I don't understand it by all means. Why? I grab Aurora's buttocks, who is arguing with Diane. If it was a stranger, he would definitely lose his head here. Andy-san. But Aurora just looks back with a strange face. Good. Let's do it. I'll do my best. My resolution becomes large, and the clothes that Aurora wore suddenly is gripped from the side and it is torn off in front of Diane, who is a little stunned. Kia, Holding two halves of clothes, I throw them away. I made the fine clothes that matched this young lady useless, and Aurora only was in her underwear now. Andy-san. This. Aurora looks at me with an embarrassing face that can't believe what is happening. I put my hands without mercy on her panty, pull them down before I pulled Aurora's body closer to me. You said you want to be a semen toilet thoroughly. I'll do it now. I attached my son against Aurora's secret garden that is no longer wearing any clothes and suddenly thrust inside. It hurts. Her vagina, which is almost not wet, is pierced by me and only the glands entered. If I try to force more than that, it hurts. Therefore, I removed my son for a moment, before I thrust a little bit deeper into her vagina. Literally, I just stripped this pretty elven princess off her clothes and rape her in this ruins. Andy-san, yeah, like that. I'm immersed in the rape of Aurora without the courage to face her, and I'm a little conscious of Diane, who is silent so far and does nothing. Honestly, the liver is cold. I started with momentum, but when I think that I might lose everything, regret tries to occupy my brain. But I can't stop because I have come this far. It doesn't really make sense if I stop. I rape Aurora's vagina violently that became wet with the liquid I released out of excitement and the love juice that is secreted as a defense instinct. A-U-U-N, Ku, U-U-H-A-A. Aurora, who is held down and doesn't resist, starts to shake her hips well and doesn't emit meaningful words, leaving herself to be violated by me as it is. When it is over I will surely receive a slap on my cheek, but right now I will taste the delicious young vagina of Aurora. U-A-U-U-H-A-A-A-A-A, nah, hoo-hoo-hoo, why, you, when you are fucked you have a very erotic face. While shaking my hips, I look into Aurora's expression from behind and lick my tongue. It is a mode when I'm called a villain or I'm dealing with Layla, but in reality, it is really because I really thought that it can't be helped. Normally the bullish princess shakes her body with a really sad face. But is that so? Aurora looks at me with a troubled and painful expression and makes a burst of troublesome laughter. If you do, please do it anytime, please do it freely. After all, Aurora is a great one. Still thinking positively, she welcomes it even though she has been violated without any clothes at this ruins by me selfishly. What I always said is nothing but a lie. Even the most unfamiliar Aurora was waiting for me to suddenly rape her. And if so, Andy, I wonder if you will hold me violently like that. Needless to say, Diane. I looked at her face for the first time and I understood. Diane, who stares at us with an enchanted look, caress her own chest from the top of her clothes. Probably from the beginning I started to ravish Aurora. Don't embrace me, no, don't hold me. It's rape, yup, Diane shakes her shoulders. Aurora, who is currently fucked, also contracts her shoulders, closes her eyes and sighs. Moo, really tricky one, really tricky. If you fuck someone suddenly in the middle of a story other than us, I will get angry. I know. This lewd woman. I regret that I was taken apace easily and the courageous pervert act of a lifetime with great pains. But I remain in the villain mode. Hoo-hoo. You are not a lewd woman. I said that earlier, Andy. Diane looked away as she was waiting for me to hold her tightly as I put Aurora down. Sperm toilet, this here, I exceed my limits of patience. First ejaculation. Push the semen directly into the bottom of Aurora's vagina. Next, is this toilet bowl. As Aurora trembled and culminated, I pulled my dick out and I pulled Diane's clothes off and made her kneel down. AAA. While being violently stripped off like that, Diane smiles happily and doesn't seem to mind it. Andy, quickly rape me. Oh. Pushing down Diane with the momentum, I insert my penis that was muddy with semen and love juice into Diane's sweet honey pot. Diane accepts it while embracing my head. I think that there is no one who would embrace the criminal who rapes you. Waiting for it while being soaking wet, you're a horny toilet. When I think that I will be raped by Andy, I couldn't stop it anymore. How far of a pervert are you? Take this. Yeah. Inside this very slimy vagina, I truly want to shake my waist willingly and fuck Diane wildly to the fullest. Diane is just pleased with herself, but it is a nuisance. In this ruin, being naked at daytime and seated thoroughly, a pervert dark elf toilet that is pleased to be called a meat toilet. True, I am a pervert. Andy likes this perverted woman. I love you, damn it. I know. Oh no. Diane understands me very well. I can't dislike this person and can't do it in this degree to her. Even though she knows everything, I wasted her clothes. Such a fool. AAA. Come, I'm coming. I ejaculate deep into Diane's vagina. My knee aches while I'm ejaculating and I fall down on Diane. The magic ran out. Hoo-hoo, it's nice to be like this once in a while. Whose suggestion was it? It was wonderful. Do you understand that you are completely stripped up to your panties? Come to think of it, you're right, no, I still have my most reliable clothes left, Aurora points to her collar. As long as this is there, I am not merely an exposure madman, but an exposed slave who is trained exclusively for Andy. San. Saying something like that, can a person like me be serious? I'm sorry, I'll get dressed, so please wait, the two are really good to me. Pushing a walking stick, we return to the carriage while having a hard time. The illusion is loosened. Layla and Selenium sneaked a peek at us at the same time. When we returned, we decided to dress Aurora, who didn't wear any clothes. Diane came close to my ear. Did N0's contact you? No, the stock is still in N0's bosom. Indeed, when she plans to report to us, she will take it out of her pocket. Has she really not contacted us yet? It seems that it has become troublesome somehow. Yes. While giving clothes to Aurora, I wait for Diane's next word. Someone was caught, got caught. I heard there was a quarrel. Damn, it's hard to hear, it's a little troublesome. Do you want to go there? Yes, led by Diane, the stay-behind team also get off the hill. Indeed, in the city, half-elves, dark elves, and elves have drawn the eyes of everyone, but it doesn't mean it is difficult for us, and I'm relieved. Well, there will be no difficulties with Layla and Diane around. And when we found N0's, she was just taking out the stock in front of the inn. Oh, everyone, I've found an inn. N0's, are you alright? Why shouldn't I be safe? N0's is blatant. I noticed that there was no hat. Diane knew that someone might be caught. Was your hat taken away? That's what I wanted to say. It was taken. I have to complain. N0's. To be stripped of the hat in Trot was N0's treated like an outcast. That's a major incident. Yet N0's is a tired wind, as she doesn't care too much and gets a little impressive impression. What happened? When Diane listens quietly, N0's sighs. It's not a big deal, N0's, I was just called out by a servant who was at home when I came to visit after a long time. When I tried to pass by, my hat fell down by mistake. Did he attack you? No, but he found out who I am and he will transmit it to my mother, that I return to Trot, which will be annoying. N0's sighs again. Everyone topples their faces. Well, it is only me and Selenium who know about N0's past. Well, my parents' home. Are you a little familiar with Trot? Then you should know the Sylphid Company, right? If you say Sylphid, do you mean the biggest food distribution and foreign trade company? Yes. It may be a bit confusing as I didn't tell you why I came to Celesta, a confusing situation. I don't want to say it, but my mother is really overprotective. To the chairman. It has been a while. There was an important report, so I took a brush. Today, I saw the young lady on Shrance's Main Street. Her appearance was very beautiful as in the past. I was also impressed. It had been concealed that it was the young lady for a while, and I must admit that I found out when her ears pointed out. I couldn't stop my tears from falling down as I saw her as a professional of Celesta. However, there is something anxious I need to tell. The young lady should have been a swordsman in Celesta. However, she was wearing something that is unbelievable. It was a collar like slaves wear. The name which was carved in it wasn't the name of the young lady, though it was thought that it was a fashionable accessory over there. I read the name, Andy Smithson. Celesta is a land of sincerity without bleeding or tears of fascination. I wonder if the young lady is involved in something. Chapter 32. At Trot's Royal Capital. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 32. At Trot's Royal Capital, N0's found us a mid-class hotel in Shrance. Well, as the ancient capital with tourism resources, it is quite nice to say that it is medium-sized. We can't stay too long. Diane, who saw the table of the rent was high enough to make a bitter face. I'm sorry. But when it comes to the number of elves, the cheapest place will turn us down. Yes, N0 smiles with an awkward feeling. We are certainly 8 people in total and more than half of them are elves and will be faced with a bitter look at most of the hotels. No matter how much Trot became a part of Celesta, elves are still not welcomed in Trot, and even if the prejudice of the manager is subtracted, it becomes the seed of trouble with other customers only by being there. As it drinks there, customers deal with them as customers, and when it comes to an accommodation that can deal with anything in the unlikely event, it is not very important and a third-rate place. Well, it may be okay, we will leave for the royal city tomorrow, so this town is just a resting place, it is true. We don't need to stay here in earnest, that's right, but I feel sorry for a moment. I might have wanted to go sightseeing for a bit, sorry, Jean also agreed. It is the first time to see the streets where such fine blacksmiths are lining up, and I wanted to look at the workshop slowly. Are you interested in blacksmithing, Jean? Why shouldn't I? There are only a few dwarves who are not interested in it. Speaking of dwarven blacksmiths imaginarily reflects a macho old man owner, but it is not surprising that even a girl can be a blacksmith, as there is no discrimination among dwarves. Either way, I will be your right arm if I quit the army. Does 10-man Captain also want to become a blacksmith? I didn't say it before, but I am the son of a blacksmith. Well, I will keep being a soldier for a while, but I think I will become a blacksmith after going through the blacksmith training. I haven't thought of it very deeply, but going back to Polka means I will face my hometown that I neglected in response to my embarrassment. My father may get angry with me, who has become a part of Celesta's army, but if he told me to do the blacksmith training again, it is time to organize, and that way I am going back. Just think that 10-man Captain is a natural serviceman wherever you look. That's how it is like N0's. N0's was a bit disappointed. Although I have sword skills, I'm not that much of a soldier, I point at N0's, as she said. I'm not that much of a soldier, even though she is in the crossbow corps. Well then, it's for what? As your subjectivity, I started to worry. Swordsman not a soldier. Swordsmen who are not related to the military are few and are adventurers or bodyguards, but I don't think that N0's is suitable for such things. Then, that, maid. Hi, what are you laughing at? I was surprised when I imagined it and laughed. Maid. A maid. Recently, N0's has become a girl and doesn't feel uncomfortable at last. It might not be bad to see N0's cleaning the room with a frilly mini skirt. But are you good at housework? That, I will memorize it when necessary. That, it's different from the direction you don't want. It was slightly dented. Then, what are you asking me to do? If you stop the army, I will also quit, and after that, I will take care of you. Is that so? Wait a moment. I think that it doesn't seem to be related to this, my. Maybe you can think about it separately, Diane interrupts. 100-man Commander, what will you do? I guess I will become a doctor again. That's my job. Sister would have her clinic in Talc, Diane. Chan, it's mean. When you're done with me, will you throw me away, Andy? No, I won't do that. But I think that you'd better seriously wait for your husband to return. Boo, in that respect, I'm relieved. I will make a herbal farm in Polka, ho. Then shall I pretend to be a flying dragon from time to time? The girls are talking about their future work occupation in a lively talk. Meanwhile, only Aurora holds her head. Well, I have a job in addition to my sword skills. Go for it, young girl. The next day, we climb the hill along with the dawn and get on the carriage again. Among the light of the golden dawn, the ancient capital seen from the hill, the fields, and orchards as far as the surroundings can be seen were exceptionally beautiful. It is rich when you see it. It's a pretty scenery that is different from the deserts and mountains of Celesta. Viewing the land of plenty from the entrance of the horse carriage, Diane is attracted to it. I wish I could trade it peacefully, huh? Originally the people of Celesta are strongly indigenous. Originally they are not very interested in the land of Trot, etc. In the last war with Trot, it was only necessary that the industrial power of Trot was absolutely necessary as an urgent task. There were only 8 dwarf mines in the whole of Celesta, while Trot has 33. The industrial power was absolutely necessary for the battle against Al-Film, but Trot saw the immediate enemy which was us and blocked diplomatic ties, so it has broken into a war. Well, Trot talked about an exchange between the Sword Saint Brigade and Al-Film's paladins, as they did not have a bad relationship with Al-Filman, they were proud of their Sword Saint Brigade. Even if we're attacked from either side, I guess we would still knock them down, Andy. Do you know why we don't release the royal family of Trot and don't destroy the kingdom of Trot and keep it in the form of dependency? We don't have the effort to reconstruct the commercial capabilities of Trot, which we wanted. When we destroy the nation's framework, the commercial ability of the area will decline for a while. Although we were never a weak country, the ability to rebuild a broken country and the power to cultivate helpless refugees isn't enough. It is irresponsible, but Celesta's merchants want to be good at Trot Kingdom. It will not be completely territorial in the future. Is that so? That means that I can't become a Celesta citizen unless I throw away my hometown completely and continue to naturalize on my own. If I were to wish for both being together and starting a new life, that would be a big wall anyway. Diane just silently explained, but the real intention will definitely be there. Is it okay if I start flying soon? Yes, Diane closes the door. Please, Layla. Let's go. When I asked Chibi Layla that appeared in the carriage, I heard flapping wings from outside. Let's go. On top of that, we are approaching the fragments of our future. While holding on to that little fear. A few hours later we arrived near the royal capital. The capital, which is also named Trot, is a large city with a population of 100,000 with 3 dwarf mines around it. The dwarf mines are mines with dwarves inside. It isn't limited to the mountain accurately, and it refers to a vein that also serves as a large dot-scale dwarf colony. Their ability to detect veins is a miraculous thing that transcends magic. The more rare metals, the more dwarves gather in the larger veins. When it reaches a certain size or more, it is called dwarf mine. Even though this one is quite a big one, there are 3 areas that are characteristic of this kingdom and the dignity as the capital of an industrial power country. Of course, it is the authority of the blacksmith industry that it is the home place for many blacksmiths, and the swords that can endure over 100 heavy power slashes are made in this kingdom. It didn't change since the last time I saw it. When I look at the capital from a distance, a little scary feeling, as well as nostalgia, comes to my chest. The last time I was there was just before the end of the Trot War. It's until the draft recruitment and the basic training is received. After a while, the war ended while undergoing combat training in the base near the border, and I was brought to Celesta as it is. It is already 7 years ago. How is the capital now under the dependency of Celesta? The workshop where I was, the lodging house that I borrowed, the dining room that I had always eaten, what would have become of the park where I looked at the sky often dimly? Were those places erased without any trace? When I was thinking about such a thing, I was hit on the back by N-Zeros. Let's go, a few kilometers south from the capital, near the carriage station. Here again, we hired our carriage and entered the capital. For now, Aurora will come to the command center with me. And Layla too. Layla looks surprised. Layla's existence has been kept secret until now. Which is surprising. I'm going to get approval for the domestic activities of Trot from now on. Nominally I will say Layla's movement between dragon palaces and incidental attendance by accident, by knowing that, let's say it without hiding it. Even so, if we don't do it well, Andy will be surveillance during his lifetime. That's correctly so. Dragon is still untouchable for humanity. Whatever the reason, if there is a guy who is going to ride around it, he would not normally let himself off as an army. Depressing. So it seems like it will be fine. Stop it. No, do you want to go with that kind of attitude? You are domineering and arrogant, a dragon who doesn't care about humans or elves. When you show your face according to my persuasion but eat those who get in the way, you can do it with the attitude. Well, I can say that humans are hard to eat and unpopular among dragons. Cattle and horses are more delicious. It doesn't matter what it is. Well, that's it. Diane easily gets angry. After all, it affords of a strong man. Selenium and older sister, please organize clothes for cold weather. It will definitely snow from now on when we travel towards Polka. Selenium claps her hands together. When she says that, it will be so. At Basun it rarely is snowing, so I didn't care about it at all in recent years. Can we look around the kingdom a little bit? Well, be careful. I don't have to worry about N0s, but Andy is helpless when something happens. I already know. N0s salutes with her fist on her chest. It is a manifestation of intention not to relax, but since it hasn't been long since the black armor is gone, N0s feels a little awkward even if she puts her fist on her chest that is wearing thin clothes. Well, you don't have to be too damn tense. Let's go. N0s, lightly hitting N0's shoulder so that she relaxes, and we head for the carriage station. The city area of the capital remained the same from 7 years ago, to say clearly. What has changed is that there are a few elf-based tribes that can be seen outside of our piers. That's great. Yup, I and N0s who know the past are surprised by that alone. In the past, if a half-elf, who cannot be distinguished from an elf by a stranger, tries to walk without covering the ears, the adults would take some distance and show a look of disgust, while the older people hit them with their canes and the youngster throw stones. But, what kind of elves are they? I talk about what I thought. The white elves in Celesta are the only inhabitants of the forest territory, right? In the last few years, soldiers from the forest territory came out. But are there still few elves outside the forest? Now that you say that, aren't they from Alfilm Empire? I guess that the skirmish is going on. Such a foolish thing, no way to go to bother to listen. I and N0s take a distance to think while watching them. I'm a resident of the Northern Elf territory. Negotiations began little by little with the positive trade policy of Celesta. I was surprised and turned around my neck while N0s moved a bit faster. Behind, there was a figure of a young soldier wearing a beautiful breastplate. Welcome to the capital. Are you on a trip from Celesta? Although being stared at by N0s, the young soldier raises his hand lightly and greets us. He has a gentle face with slender eyes. He looks younger than me. Who are you? Ahaha, did I surprise you a little too much? The young soldier hit his chest on top of the breastplate. Trot Kingdom Army, Royal Sword Saint Brigade, 48th Corps member, but that was a while ago. Size. The emblem on his chest belongs to the Celesta Army. Now I'm supposed to be a 10-man captain of Celesta Army Trot Corps, the 7th Infantry Corps, Eric Randall, Sword Saint Brigade, yes, Sword Saint Brigade. I am a little proud. In case of Celesta, they should be called Ace Knights, but I find the Sword Saint Brigade is cool, so it is awful to call them Ace Knights as I'm also one of them. Ahahaha, the young boy laughs. A Sword Saint at that age. A little surprised, N0s muttered. As far as Trot's Army Corps, the Trot Sword Saint exam is still continuing, but now the formal title is Ace Knight. Yes, indeed, I am the last one who passed the Sword Saint exam, so please don't tell anyone. I haven't said anything. I'm sorry, I was bullied for it before and got a trauma. What kind of Sword Saint is he? N0 stops and stretches her spine. Have you judged that this guy isn't someone who will hurt you anyway? We are members of Celesta's Northern Corps and are from Trot. We came here as we are on the way to Polka so that I can recuperate my leg. With this pretty girl, I'm not a light fellow and I don't like you. N0s tried to say something else, but she controls her attitude. As she is actually pretty, it's not a loss if she is called pretty. I am Andy Smithson of Polka. N0s needed a few moments. Angelina Newman, she named a strange name. N0s. In Celesta, I pretended to be a human and made a false name while this is my real name when I lived in Trot. It is a new fact of shock. I mean, she is actually a psychic, isn't she? Newman, Eric murmurs so and twists his neck. Elf, Newman. That's enough. He and I are in a hurry. Eric grabs my shoulders after chasing us and walked towards N0's. I remembered, I don't know what you remembered, but until next time, you are the daughter of President Newman of the Sylphid Company. It doesn't differ, until next time, please wait a moment. Eric caught up with us as he followed. I am not married. Ha. N0's and I are surprised and she looked down with her face. Eric saw us stopping, sighs as if he is relieved. No, the story actually is, what do you mean? Haven't you heard from President Newman yet? Eric looked strange, what is going on? Chapter 33. N0's Choice. N0's, you are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 33. N0's Choice. N0's, as the name implies, Trot Kingdom is a traditional feudal nation which governs the whole country with the king as an absolute monarch and the aristocrats who rule their lands. Although the basic framework has not changed as a result of losing to Celesta, the aristocracy, which has only two poor governance ability, has been forcibly stripped of their ranks and lands after an investigation by a special intelligence brigade. The agency rule is given to restore to the commercial capacity commensurate with the land. There seems to have been a lot of rotten parts unexpectedly. A female enters 1/3 of the whole country, and it became a situation that the head was replaced. Wealthy farmers and merchants succeeded in the positions of the aristocrats. As for the achievement of Celesta, it seems to be a complete gospel and a charitable work for Trot, but the people from Celesta didn't want to live in Trot when they heard only this. The consciousness rooted in this land is not the one that can be changed. Trot, which is country with mostly human citizens, is full of racial discrimination, unlike Celesta, which is a land of many races. It is meaningless to put in a brutal rule of governance but to tie a relationship with them. It wasn't a part of the country but a temporary property, and it was an excellent industrial power that the people wanted to obtain until fighting. In the midst of the reforms, Marquis Randall has been ranked in the top ranks for his province management capabilities. He is a peaceful noble with Celesta's endorsement. Besides, in the last 50 years, 18 people who are sword saints have been removed as they are a part of distinguished families. I can't think of the reason why Randall and I will be married, N0 said with a disappointed expression. Sylphid Company is a great company, isn't it? But it's just a merchant. It is a basic in Trot to have only one woman, so I shouldn't be someone the eldest son of nobility wants. When N0 said so, Eric scratched his head in a blurred manner. It sounds like a complicated story, but I wasn't willing to marry a woman who I never even saw before. Well then, you and I are irrelevant. Wait a moment, I didn't think that you are such a beautiful person. N0's glances at him with cold eyes. Even though she was praised by him, she is extremely cold to him. N0's, isn't it better for you to go to check the facts properly, Andy, because your bag was pretty big, didn't you bother to make it to Celesta and make your dreams come true? Yet it's strange to let you go without saying important things about marriage, N0's thinks. And after a while, she nodded with a hard face and looked at me. Will you go with me? Of course, and nod and used my crutch to walk out. Eric hurriedly followed. Well, I will go, too, N0's ignored him. Eric is pitiful. N0's home is in the residential area that was off the main street leading from the royal castle. Here, well, in the middle of this royal capital, it perfectly conceals the half-elf servants. I see, the garden is large enough for the cavalry to march. The building is like a castle, at least as the House of Commoners. It's unreasonable even if you exaggerate. I guess it has enough place to let a 100-man corps stay here. Well, is it okay to come here so suddenly? Even if it was said that you should leave and not come back, I think it's fine like that. Hey, who are you? A young gatekeeper who looked at the ears of N0's makes a dubious face, but before he could say anything else, an elderly gatekeeper popped out quickly. Ah, Anj.Sama. Khan, it has been a long time. It has been a long time. I'm glad that you returned safely. As far as the gatekeeper speaks, he hurriedly opens the gate. Anju. Servants and close friends who know me since I was a baby have called me so. You're a person with many different names. Angelina, Ange, and zeros, beheading sword, it doesn't matter, talking about that, the gate is opened and the gatekeepers let us pass through with an upright stand. Let's go, Andy. To be honest, I am a little nervous, but I can't leave with N0s who holds my hem tightly. Well, to it. I don't feel like to let go of N0s any longer. Ange. Ange, is it you? Mother, it's been a long time, it's you. I told you to send letters once in a while. Sorry, I was busy. As I said, I became an ace knight, my goodness. We have to have a party. Linda Newman, chairman of Sylphid Company in N0's mother. She is an energetic woman about 50 years old. It doesn't mean that she is fat, but there are a presence and the drawing room which was an impression that it was wide felt with the color at a breather in her appearance. Besides, State Minister Randall's son. You're impatient, yeah, I met your daughter by chance. Eric greets Linda. San with a gentle smile. Are they acquaintances? So, what about him? Linda asked N0s to introduce me, leaving behind the sociable smile of Eric. He is Andy Smithson, my colleague, isn't it, master? N0s makes a stiff face. I also don't know what to do. Eric also hardened with an amiable smile. Linda. San smiled just with her mouth, her eyes reveal a light that would shoot through me. This morning, a letter has arrived from Reynolds of Schrantz by express mail. Schrantz. For example, a former servant of the Newman family. Ange, I suppose I always have said that you shouldn't become a slave in your entire life. You're a half-elf, who doesn't need to succumb to a human only because you're a woman, mother, or are you doing it without knowing? The collar with the name of someone is a sign of slavery in some countries. Are you walking with him like that? Linda. San's eyes narrow a little. She expresses terrible intimidation. But. Wrong, I deny ahead of N0s. All in consent, it's my hobby. Linda. San looked as if she had been poisoned. Andy, N0s massage her temples. It's a typical Diane gesture. It is as if an elder sister tells her stupid brother what to do. Yup. But I haven't said anything wrong. What is the difference between what we did and that N0s wanted it herself? I have learned that I don't get a bearish face here. I don't want to say that N0s is a slave. But she's definitely my girl. It is a collar to assert that, the purpose that we came to this house was to make sure of the facts about the marriage. How many years has it been since a youngster talked so proudly to me? Linda Newman, chairman of Sylphid Company. Linda. San laughed fearlessly and turned around. Follow me, Ange and Randall's little boy. We walk through the large mansion for a while and enter another drawing room. That was wider than the room where we were first passed through, and it was a luxurious room. An old man is sitting on a sofa in it. It was an old man who I know from somewhere. I kept you waiting. No, not that much. Today the sun is comfortable, on the glass. Side window side unique to Trott's glass industry which is thriving. The old man was totally happy and relaxed. Looking at that face, N0s and I were struck by something in Eric. He kneeled quickly and lowered his head. The old man tells Eric with his smile to stand up, before turning his eyes on N0s. This child is Ange. Linda also has a bad personality to hide such a good child, which was also sent to Celesta. It was thanks to the members of Celesta who made it possible for half-elves to keep their ears closed, and it was, in the end, they who allowed the female Ange to receive the Sword Saint exam. If she became a Sword Saint then at that time, living in the War of Celesta, she may have come back. Any council member would have never thought of giving a half-elf or a woman the chance to be a Sword Saint. My ears hurt, which means that I couldn't even change such a thing unless I was pressed by Celesta. After all, it would be difficult for a doctor to forgive a scalp if it didn't hurt at all. The old man smiled, took N0's hand. Nice to meet you, Angelina Newman. My name is Ulysses Ernest Ali Claude. Now I'm the most useless old man in this country. N0's opens her eyes. I was about to jump. Ulysses 3. He is the current king of Trot. Since the Celesta War, I had nothing to do but show my face at the ceremony. There are no days in a month where I'm called. The people from Celesta are doing everything, it's easy, but I wonder if it's going to come to a merchant's house to play chess, I guess you understand. Linda. Shrugs her shoulders. The position difference with a royal aristocrat is obvious, though she is a large merchant. Anyway, if this is Celesta, which has no class system in the public, it is true that Linda, a person from Trot, can be in this attitude honestly. Even if it is said that it is good, it can't be done easily. My daughter is here today, so just say it. Depending on the young people's reaction, it might be a good idea. King Ulysses strokes his pure white beard with his fingers and confirms us with a glance. With his nose, he made a big sigh and turned to Linda. Will you receive the rank as a count? No, I want you to receive it by all means, as I thought. And Zeros and I look at each other's face. Former aristocrats who were judged failure in the management of the province ability were forced to fall to commoners. A wealthy farmer and wealthy merchants are put on the vacant seats, and politics is begun to move with new aristocrats. It seems that it is a story of making the count territory strong again by finding a new count, in other words, an autonomous state to the Newman family. It is no exaggeration to say that Sylphide is the best company in the country. Even if the Marquis territory is empty, no one will complain. If it is a reward, I'm telling you that it is not a good idea for me being a generation aristocrat. The generation aristocrat is an honorary title. You can line up the royal aristocrats at the court, but the territory cannot be sealed. It isn't the purpose of adding Linda to the court order. I hope Linda has excellent power to lead Trot Kingdom to rebuild the national strength and make it stronger. Well, if you expect it to be in the field, there may not be someone more qualified than the chairman of the Sylphide Company. You heard it, I'm the best of the aristocracy. Linda. Points at N0s. My only child is Ange. Only this half-elf child, I gave birth to. And there's no way a half-elf can rule an autonomous state of Trot with a pin. It's a problem before the ability. Even if she is excellent, and Zeros is an elf with a strong tendency to discrimination, especially in Trot, so question marks attach neatly. Certainly, a half-elf alone isn't optimal, so that's where Randall comes in. In other words, this old man says we should engage Ange and Randall's boy over there. Now that the tradition has been broken, there will be no opposition, even if a noble family like Randall is a back shield. If the child of the chairman of the Sylphide Company and a noble boy bring the nation forward, it will be very reliable. Did you hear that, Ange and Collar Boy? Nothing, harassment or monetary greed. Such a story is moving. I know that much for me. King Ulysses is trying to purely move the future of Trot in a good direction. Individual color love is ignored among them. Well, that's the point. Randall as well. If it had been told that there might be such a way, Ange, you caught on a strange man, and then you came back. What's that? That's selfish. And Zeros steps down with a stubborn look. Eric has a slightly hurt face. Even though he felt somehow a friendly atmosphere with me, even though he was told that I was N0's lover, the attitude of N0's, who said she wouldn't marry him, isn't comfortable for Eric. However, King Ulysses slowly catches up with N0's, who is trying to reject. This is a problem that affects the future of the kingdom itself. If you say that you will reject it absolutely, you have to think about stopping commercial bills, judging that there is no place for Sylphide in the nation. Once the commercial bills stop, Sylphide can no longer do business in the country. Since Sylphide isn't a domestic-only company, it will be possible to continue the business by relocating the base somewhere. But in that case, they will dismiss many people in this city, and Linda. San will leave the kingdom forever. Right now, N0's need to decide between her romance or the lives of many. Your Majesty, do you threaten me? As the king of this country, N0's ears faced downward little by little, proving that she is sinking deeper into trouble. Please let me think, N0 said so as to squeeze it out and leave the room alone. Eric Randall, I'm sorry to have brought you along with this grandiose picture. No, that, because Angelina is attractive, Eric replied with upright immobility. After a while, it is still awkward, as he kneels arbitrarily. King Ulysses' finger point to me. Youth, you're Ange's lover. Yes I am, I wanted to kneel down but I'm on my crutch. While standing badly, I answered quietly to King Ulysses. Do you hate this old man? Not much. Do you believe in love, I wonder? And Zeros certainly fell in love with me. But, besides me, she only saw that fool Lucas in the forest territory, but now a strong, gentle, cool and good-looking man appeared. I really doubt that I have a reason to be able to be together with N0s. Still, I will bear a grudge when N0s is taken away. I doubt myself many times, and I've been angered many times. That's why I pretend to be confident. At least now she's mine. At night, we gathered in one of the hotels in the capital. To be exact, it is the place which the Celesta army is borrowing as a lodging house, and it is said to be used for special intelligence brigade members and messengers. Is that so? That, and zeros. San, what do you do? If it's a problem with parents and hometown, to be honest, I don't know. I'm making everyone unhappy with my selfishness. Everyone cares about N0s who shut herself up in one of the rented rooms. By the way, what to do with this issue? Do you want to be a part of the Trot Corps Command? It would be splendid if Layla could do a pretty good performance. Oh. I will just threaten them with my dragon form in poor condition. The arranged soldiers would be scared of a dragon that comes out in their dreams. When? Andy, the door opens only a little and N0s calls me with a loud voice. She saw everyone else and waited for everyone to leave before she entered the room. Honestly, I am at a loss for good, really. N0s suddenly has a grudge in her eyes. I wanted you to say, don't waver. I also would waver myself if I knew that everyone in my hometown and my father become unemployed just from saying one word. Is that so? Yeah. That's right, sitting on the bed and shaking her legs, N0s looks lonely. Which reminds me, N0's father is an elf. Right now what is he doing? It seems that this water doesn't match and he sometimes come to see my mother and me secretly, but he usually lives in the northern forest. What would your dad say? I don't know. Because he is a person who hardly understands human society in the first place. If you think that the mind of that person is good with me and my mother, he would only say that's enough for him. I think that the world is different. For a while, N0s keeps shaking her legs. Before she talks to me again. I want you to tell me not to waver. I want you to tell me that I'm yours. I want you to say that you won't let me go and won't hand me over to other men. I have no idea. Please say. Her ears are hanging down with her head. Extreme spirit of depression. Hey, N0s. A little while ago, in front of your mother, yes, I consciously talked in a men's language because I left Trot. Can you please talk in a women's language for a while now? It isn't bad to see N0s as a colleague, but there are words that are hard to say if the opponent isn't a girl. No matter if she wears girls' clothes and hairstyles, if there is something that is difficult to do unless you make it feel like that. Please call me Ange. I understand, Ange. Yes, I love you. Her ears bounced up and N0's face turned red. The word that I feel like I had said before wasn't told after all, until now. I think that a cheating bastard like me talks quite cheaply. But I can only say this to N0s. I can't say anything about irrelevantly letting my family in the past abandon, but it is better to marry Ange, even if my mouth is torn. Even though she is wearing my collar and making her my possession, I think that I will do with such a low back, and I say things to force her. Everything, my strength is nothing and walking ability is low, but I can't resist it if N0s thinks to go against it, as I don't think we need to hold back to ourselves. Still, the only thing I need for N0s was the only word I could give her. That kinda. Now, I haven't said it so far. I don't remember saying that, so I say, Ange, I love you. N0s turned over to bed and buried her face on the sheet. Idiot, I love you. Liar, not a lie. It is a lie. Why, do you doubt it? I don't doubt. I just say there is no action, dot. Ah, if you love me, please love me, and Zeros lifted her hips for a while keeping herself down on the sheet. Is that the difference in opinion? I mean seriously. I'm seriously saying it. She raised her face for a moment, and then Zeros looked at me as tired. My womb is aching after being told the first time, hey, I want to feel Andy's love straight, my body enters such a mode without permission. I want to feel you in the depths of my body, the evidence of your love. I have to say that persistently, my waist is already pushed out, here, perverted Ange, yeah, I can't dispute at all, I love you, I can see N0's underwear underneath her skirt and it's completely wet. But, I want you to love me more, so I will not move now, in one way or another, absolutely, then, it flashed there. Stripping off N0's clothes and throw her down on the bed. I try to bury my nose into her hair as I hug her from behind. Then, with the right half of the body facing down, I brought my waist close. The so-called side position. In this case, it will be possible even if my left leg is useless. Aha, Andy, it's hard, you make a cute face and invite me to do lewd things, it is bad that Andy teases me with his words, isn't love to tease you with my words. Yup, she is an obstinate woman. I will put it in, since a little while ago when you touched my butt, I wanted to hear that. You pervert. Hiya. When I set the position of my dick and pushed it in, and Zeros also sticks out her hips and helps me invade. With the movement of the waist full of the desires of two people, mutually intentionally quickly, the glands penetrated all the way to the back of her vagina at one stroke. This. I like this. Andy's penis, I love it so much, Even I love you so much that I want to fuck you all night from morning till night, baka. Don't say such a nice thing. And Zeros rejoices being exposed to my sexuality with tears in her eyes. I move, this one, Andy, not good, just moving a little, in my head, everything become pink, baka. Because of the posture which does not take weight from each other, it is not possible to be bullied strongly in the back too much, and it compensates for the estrus and the sensitivity accompanying it to a too abnormal to compensate for it. The love that is trying to be swallowed by each other's estrus without hesitation at all, does not stop the sex while persistently bumping the waist against each other in a casual way. Oh, no, after all, Andy is nice, I will have Andy's penis for the rest of my life, Andy says it every day, that you love me which is a wonderful life. You pervert. Hentai ace night. Pervert chibi woman. Hentai half-elf, I love you extremely, you pervert. You will become pregnant. Dokansu. I thrust the sperm into N0's uterus with certainty. Since the effect time of sperm hell magic has already expired, it is an ordinary amount of ejaculation. AAA, and Zero's whole body trembles and she was delighted with my ejaculation. Andy, goo, I love you, I will never forget what you said, Supi. With these words, I can fight as much as I can, chew. Chapter 34. Bet yourself you are listening at novelfull.audio. In the morning, when I woke up, there was no N0's. Most of the personal belongings have also been cleaned up. In haste, I put on my clothes and jump out of the room. I bumped into Diane. Andy. N0's, she just got out, what, why won't she wake me up? No, it's not the case that you are saying that, well, calm down because the scout follows her, scout. It's selenium, Diane sighs. Now that she can use illusion magic and she understands the originality of Trot, she is the best for being the scout. If there is any movement, the crossbow corps can be flown here as soon as possible, but, believe in N0's, for now, you should take your breakfast early, as it may not be possible to eat in the day depending on the course. It's frustrating. But I know that it is not good to be too hasty at such times. The other party is a state authority. I was not able to give a clear answer to N0's, but it was certainly not what would happen if I jumped out without understanding the reason. Good morning, mother. Difficult. Ange obeys respectfully. Your answer is. It is a face that doesn't want to leave. Mother, does mother want to be count? Who knows, please say it. That's good either. Ange, don't blame me for the decision. If I told you that I could be your master separately, would you follow me? If I say I want to be the count, would you marry Randall's son? If it's about that, don't pretend to be troubled from the beginning. What is so good about that guy? If you ask me, he is just the son of a blacksmith, who can't use a sword and is handicapped for his whole life. To such a man, you sold yourself out and put on a collar like that. Different. How is it different? I will listen to anything as much as it is for my daughter, so please take as much time as you need. Please tell me what happened while you were away from me until you were satisfied. Yup, it was after the trot war that I first met him. Did it work? A few hours after I took breakfast. Diane, who had kept silent for a long time, moved her ears while passing over the cold weather clothes that Selenium and Hilda bought from a store to Layla to store it. What happened, older sister? Layla and Jean advance our journey preparations. We will go as soon as the talk finished. Aurora, Andy, come, we will go to the big arena. Big arena. It seems that it is becoming such a story. I see he was pretty gentle. Even so, I still misrepresent myself as a man. He actually did not recognize that you're a woman. Even if, he is irreplaceable to me. But Ange. There are so many men who are kind. Don't be so narrow-minded. Even in trot different. Andy is gentle, but without any strength, but he is strong, really. Yeah. He's strong, because I understood it. I was anxious to dedicate everything, but I wanted to dedicate. The collar, in reality, he was against it. But if he was willing to hold me at ease, I could be a slave or a pet, so he wrote me his name on the collar after I begged him. Ange. But that boy Eric is also strong. He's a good child. He will surely make you happier than anyone else. Honestly, I can only think that it's momentum. It is somewhat doubtful whether he holds the same thought in a year. It's impossible for him to say such a thing. Then how about these kinds of things? Then how about you see the good side of that Eric boy? He seems to be really strong, as he is a great swordsman of his own rankings. It is worth seeing as you are also a swordsman. I'm sure it's not too late. Mother, Ange. What do you want me to do? Mother. As the chairman of Sylphide, I'm also threatened by that old man. As a mother, it isn't a bad story to sell out your child, as I want you to receive the most important thing I can leave behind for you. Territory in a house that protects you forever, but nevertheless, Angelina. As Linda Newman, as an adventurer who gave birth to you with that idiot elf guy. If my daughter pierces the world and decides her own way of living, I never want to stop it. Mother, Angelina, who is not responsible for my way of life. Angelina, not to blame others for my bearish, my Angelina. If you decided to buy cheap, you would be delighted with the leftover money. If you buy luxury goods, don't mourn the money you used. There is no talk only of the world good. Life is what you have to choose when choosing. You just have to pay for convincing enough to get what you want. To throw away something for that, at least throw away at your own will. Don't shoulder the pain squarely. To live proudly, that's what it is. Yup. Now, what do you do, Angelina? I am. What are you going to do? Big arena. Apart from the royal castle, the capital has one or two large buildings. There is a big ground where a horse race can be held and half of the citizens can take place in the audience seats. In the basement, there are countless fields for training, which is a dedicated training ground for the Sword Saint Brigade. Even though Sword Saints are called Ace Knights, they didn't change fundamentally, and it seems that only the owners of the title Ace Knight are allowed to enter this big arena, except for special exhibition days. I wonder what will it be. Even if it is told, in the case of those who aren't ace knights, it is a rule that they can't pass without the permission from the corps headquarters. Diane made a shrewd face to the poor answer of the guard. Aurora plays the role of a supporter. This person has the ability not to be inferior to master knights. She is famous in Celesta. Even if such a thing is said, I was born and never got out of trot. For now, only Aurora can enter and exit this big arena. Even if you go into the headquarters and get permission, if you don't have too much motivation it will be meaningless to enter. That N0s is doing something here, that information is certain. I must get through here by then. It can't be helped. Come back, Aurora, you enter, please keep watch even if we don't make it in time. I understand. Diane returns her heels, Aurora gently nods and enters the arena. I chase after Diane. Are you going to get a letter of acceptance? Indeed, it won't be possible to wait that far. Diane says so in a loud voice, pulling my shoulder and dragging me to the back of the alley. And then. Okay, she suddenly took hold of me. Yua. Don't be noisy. A lightly dizzy sense. Is it an illusion? It's a personal designation. Well, as we fly around in the future, just for sure, fly around. Let me handle it. Don't raise your voice. Well, maybe you are going to cross the exterior wall and enter the arena. That over there is a height of 20 meters, I can afford. High. I experienced a 20 vertical jump while being held by Diane. Did you see your weight a bit sweeter? It was a little dangerous. I thought that it was useless, it seemed to be chilling. In any case, Selenium greeted us who succeeded in infiltrating the big arena. N0s. She is already here. What is N0s doing? Something like a competition with a guy called Randall. Why? I don't really understand the meaning. I thought that when the gate of the ground opened and someone came in. Selenium, yes. Selenium and Diane cooperatively put up an illusion of space designation and conceal our appearance. It was N0s who came in. And for some reason Aurora. After a while the gate of the auditorium opened, Linda and several swordsmen entered. Are they sword saints? And after a while, King Ulysses came in. Explain to me, Linda, is it necessary, Your Majesty? Unfortunately this senile old man's mood is severe, often said. As you can see, a match. Between N0s and Randall's little boy, I am asking why it will happen, the life of the ace knight of the Celesta army, N0s, and the awesome sword Saint Eric Randall. Who is stronger? My daughter is clumsy. After all, she said that she won't recognize it unless it's a serious match. That's it. Are you saying that she is unyielding to you, Linda? If she loses, is it a taste for accepting fate as Angelina Newman? Don't say fate, old man, such a cheap rut. They are hypocrites fellows. After a while, Eric who wore armor neatly appeared from the gate opposite to N0s with a complexed face. Angelina, Eric Randall. Sorry, for all that's so sudden. No, I don't care. Either way, it is my daily routine to train here. Is that so? When I was a child I had a dream, that there is a day when I go to the arena and hone my skills among many of my colleagues. Now, if you live in the kingdom you shouldn't have any obstacles to do it. Angelina, yes, but I don't feel like living in the kingdom. Angelina. Sama, if you win, I will be your bride, but I will do anything not to lose. I want to overcome you. I believe that I have cultivated the ability to do so. 15 years after seeing the magnificent sword Saint March and 10 years since I moved to Celesta. The whole time I spent trying to be my own self instead of the half-elf who is the daughter of a merchant. Let me surpass you and show it, Eric. It won't happen, but you can dream about it. Eric slightly bites his lips, pulling out the sword, standing on the ground and grabbing the handle with both hands. It is manner as a sword saint. Holding her short sword up in front of her chest as if praying. N0s matches him. Aurora, which had been silent until now, changes position and moves between those two. It seems that she is planning to be the referee. There is one rule until someone admit defeat: no time limit, no hitting of vital points and no grappling moves. However, it's a game held in front of your majesty, so show a fight that is worthy of a sword. Yes, yes, two people set up slowly. And then. Begin. Aurora waves her hand. They spread the stance at the same time. They won't jump in yet. It is the stage to read each other's hand from each movement. I feel sorry for saying something arrogant. What? I am quite strong. Eric drops down and steps in. It is the basic exquisite cutting one flash. And Zeros is trying to get rid of it, somewhat losing. I also kept exercising for a similar period of time since I got a sense of mind. I don't want to say such a way of saying, but if it is the same traditional style, men have more power and of course, it is natural. I see, the same, and Zeros slowly repositions and grins with her lips. There is also such a thing, at that moment, and Zeros accelerates all at once. It is not difficult to follow her with the eyes from long distances, but if you look from close range, she probably rushes like a blast. Striking the torso of Eric, without stopping, she strikes from behind. Eric managed to receive it, but tension ran on his expression. Anzio's new tactic, high-speed maneuver. I see, but Eric breathes deeply. Breaking in. That speed, he will approach N0's. Nah. I said it, I am quite strong. Gaikin. N0's retreats while avoiding the heavy slashes of Eric. As one would expect, Eric Randall is like he said. That boy Eric is not bad. To Linda.San's words, the sword saints in the surroundings nods. The fighting power of 10-man Captain Randall is amazing, as his youth, healthy, basic type of serious type, so there isn't much space. His breadth of the field of view and the assembly of tactics are quite substantial. If he has a career record, in 5 more years he will be a great sword saint. Even being a master knight won't be a dream. I see, I don't quite understand, but I guess that it will go so far. Linda.San sniffs. There are only a handful of swordsmen who can become a master knight. It's not so strange. Meanwhile, N0's is chased. She didn't seem to be able to push back, though she correctly surpassed the slash fight with Eric at first. Diane, that one, it's not good. The fact that it's the same type and somewhat stronger is the best engagement. After all, is Eric better? The flow is also bad. You will have to attack first and push it by the number of steps, but if you allow the opponent to do this too, the momentum won't come back easily. N0's, the size of N0's is small. The product is also short. If it is the same type, same skill, it will resound greatly. Unlike Aurora, Eric seems to have endurance and seems to be unable to find a breakthrough in that area. Goo. N0's somehow managed to take some distance, shaking her sword and creating a large shockwave. Eric avoids it. It didn't hit him, but his body collapsed. See Chira. There is one more shockwave. If she can catch him and raise her opponent in the sky, the momentum turns into N0's favor. It was a trump card. However, although Eric collapses, he destroyed N0's shock wave. With the same shock wave, that intercepted. To drown out. The surprised N0's stops moving. The sword saints around Linda.San nodded. Those who are using shock waves as attacks aren't uncommon for swordsmen, though it might have been able to pass through an ace knight of Celesta who has no speed. It isn't easy for 10-man Captain Randall to handle it. It seems like that. Linda. San clicks her tongue. No matter how much N0's loses it talks, it seems that it isn't interesting to see that her daughter is completely sealed down by a swordsman under her age. Let's stop it. Eric stops his sword while remaining in his shock wave striking posture. If it pursues N0's as it is, she probably will be pushed out with momentum, so he stops. After all, it feels strange to decide our marriage by an exchange of swords. For whatever reason I think I'm wrong to attack my woman with my sword and doing what I want. Eric, again, Eric is different from General Lucas. He can be emotional. And Zeros, what will you do next? Diane. If he had ambushed and Zeros obediently yet, and Zeros would still fight back, but if he says that, will she stop peacefully? As Diane says. If I were in the position of N0s, will I still continue to have my way? The worst, you think about throwing N0s away, Andy, are you ready to become a bad guy? If I think about N0s, I don't feel like letting go of N0s. As I'm useless anyway, it's good to do that. I whispered love to N0s yesterday. It is not disarrayed with such adults as wishing for the opponent's happiness, it is an irresistible childish love that wants to monopolize. So, I won't be hesitant to enter anyway, regardless of whether the future will continue. However. N0s. Andy. Shortly after Diane releases her control, I jumped out of the illusion and shouted to N0s. I left my crutch behind, so I can't walk satisfactorily now. But, by hanging out with my body, rolling down the stairs of the audience seats, crawling on the stone floor, I raise my voice. Don't run away. Don't be bearish. Try to fight back. Ah, Andy. Why, don't give up as long as your technique doesn't work. That is the words I heard when I was at Trot Kingdom and I didn't know anything other than a blacksmith. Don't give up because the enemy is strong. Unreasonable, aggressive. If you don't have a weapon, throw a stone. If there is no stone, spread sand. Don't give up, do as many things as you want. Do you want to maintain yourself? Still, someone's words that were told to me are a big advantage over anything living. You haven't lost yet, you haven't lost anything. You haven't done anything yet. My cry leaves a reverberation in the quiet arena. Other than that, it was restless. When? Hoo hoo hoo, ha 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 ha. The laughter was heard from an unexpected point. Beside Linda. San and the king. One of the sword saints. I see, hey boy, it's been a long time. That sword saint turns his eyes upon me. At that time, I noticed. Instructor, it's been a while, trainee Smithson, the bearded sword saint. The man who gave us a quick soldier education. I can't remember his name. But it was surely him. Well, I see, you don't understand, what do you mean, 100. Man Commander Grants. I am disrespectful, I thought this time Newman's daughter would fight because she is selfish and was corrupted by someone wicked, it's really rude, isn't it? Ha ha ha. But. If it is trainee Smithson, if you fight to prove the time you spent with him, it's different, how different? He is a prosperous Trot soldier. I assure you. Having the Trot Kingdom Army's soul inside him in the past and even now. The bearded sword saint, 100. Man Commander Grants looked at the two at the ground with a smile. It is our descendants to fight to testify of their strength. It is the sword saints who aren't bastards and succeeds the soul of the kingdom. As a sword saint, a clumsy pride of self. Fight, this is the fight, it's going to lift my educational results quite a lot, I cannot believe it, what sword saint, what is proud of what? We have succeeded. And he and she succeeded. You heard what he said, ah, such a pride, wonderful, isn't it? But a warrior is a clumsy thing by nature. It is the glory of continuing to fight to win. Tenacious was the biggest plus for the great Sword St. Brigade in the Northwest Plains, and Zeros looked at me and nodded, apart from hearing the conversation of 100. Man Commander Grants, is that so, was it encouraging every time you heard of T? Yes, but it is not only that, I breathed in deeply. It's getting warmer to yourself, to myself trying to say what I want. Do not lose in such a place. I will love you until you break when we return to my hometown, so absolutely win. Ha! This idiot, why are you saying that? And Zeros and Aurora looked down on the ground. Well, yeah. That's true. As 100. Man Commander Grant said, I'm an exemplary soldier of the Kingdom of Trot, and he was a wonderful teacher for N0s before she went to Celesta. As for me, at least now N0's, and I don't think that it is not a connection of pride of Trot but that we are both individuals searching the best purpose, so we must clearly make it clear. Sure enough, Linda.San, the Sword Saints and Eric are flabbergasted. And, N0's. I can't lose absolutely if you say such a thing, she turned bright red as she said so. Yup. It feels like I did something, but we actually are like this. Ah, Angelina.Sama. Let's start again, Eric, but, don't worry about me, it's just a personal hobby, ha, ha, I feel a little sorry for Eric's puzzled face. However, N0 stood there with her spine stretched out holding her sword and with a confident face as if she had been reborn. Let's go, ha, N0's dashed. Eric intercepted with a thorough attitude. When I thought he did it, he suddenly was blown away into the air. Dot. Everyone who was watching took a breath. N0's. Didn't thrust into something. She didn't move from her first standing position and shakes her sword. What's going on? Ah, N0's.San, illusion. N0's can do such a thing, you can do it. N0's. San, you can use illusion magic. Ah, I remember being told it by Selenium. Yes, N0's had succeeded in making a rudimentary apparition on the road to Helicon. Thud and Eric fall from the back. N0's slowly raises the point of her sword and talked. I forgot to mention but I can do magic, she just did it for the first time, even though the limit is to show a small hallucination, N0's is fearless. Coo, did you say the same style? I'm sorry, but I'm a Celeste merchant and ace knight surrounded by all kinds of races. You'd better not think of me in the frame of a sword saint of Trot, distraction. Eric rushes to N0's to shake off his inferiorness. Swinging his sword down. But N0's isn't there. She stood right behind Eric. My master told me, at least, I will pursue you by all means from now on. Let me throw you down if you want. I'll hold on to the collar and get dragged by my master, that, I am not going to follow a person who is weaker than me, no, I'm seriously weak. As I crawl, I made a Tsukomi just in my heart. Selenium softly embraces me. Damn, why did she say it in this way? What will I do if I am challenged by Eric? I am not strong at all. Andy is strong, at least for N0's you are better than anyone, take me, anything by accident. Anyway, N0 saw Andy.San's cool side and Andy.San had never been disillusioned by N0's.San. That's enough, a big misunderstanding, that clumsy girl, Diane also came down to my side and chuckled. It is not an equal fight. If only strength is that it isn't it, no one can win against the Sword Saint Brigade, but, it's a difference in the meaning of the words, they don't want that strength, when you got weakened, you were strong, when you gave up, you didn't give up. You are strong, at least in your heart, only that can be seen, for a woman, it is enough to see it, while talking about such things, N0's was using an illusion to trick Eric. Eric is a Trot soldier and not an elf. Even trying not to be misled by illusions he can't get used to it easily. Hiya. That's not enough, the shock wave that Eric gave off hurriedly also vanishes swaying vainly. Beware of being blown away by the shock wave that hid in the illusion, he made a shock wave to assault, it becomes big, it is a form to be dihedral the pseudo-attack, and blow number of times increases. A slight difference sounds greatly with similar skill. Just a reversal. N0's, who strikes back with the difference of illusion instead of reach, had really overwhelmed Eric. This, a little deceived, I am Eric who received a direct hit of shock waves a few times and was hit against the wall, bit his lip with a feeling of regret while tangling his legs. 10. Man Captain Randall, don't underestimate illusion magic, Grants. Sensei, the Sword Saint Brigade lost to it. It is the most effective magic on the battlefield, but, I don't want to admit that I can't win against such a distraction. Hugh, 100. Man Commander Grants gently laughed, lifting his eyes at the next moment, he raised his voice. Naive Randall. What do you think of this fight? I should have taught you that war is not a battlefield. Were you thinking that everyone would fight with swords, bows, and spears alone? Because we forgot the taste of blood, the Sword Saint Brigade ended without being able to do anything. Say, Sensei. The cavalry stopped in a mere pitfall. The infantry was scary of a mere fire. Even a person with only one leg isn't able to do anything. The Sword Saint Brigade was also annihilated by a mere illusion and crossbows. Don't look sweet, you immature. In a battlefield, a man like you is never useful. Eric, who has teary eyes, falls on his knees. And Zeros closes her eyes and upholds her sword in front of her chest with a cool face. To that extent Aurora made a decision. And Zeros.San got the victory. It's an interesting result. King Ulysses stands up. Does this result mean that you refuse the engagement with Randall and abandon your house? And Zeros looked up at the king while she put the sword in the sheath. Yes, that's right. I thought you had a heartless girl. Linda shrugged her shoulders. After all, your daughter was caught by a guy who is not even a rookie. Well, it's not bad, no matter what kind of guy she likes, but she passed. You are definitely a dutiful daughter, Ange. Linda smiled. What do you mean with dutiful? Don't you know, Grandpa? She believes in me and goes to seize my happiness. Good, energetic, happy, best parents. I don't want my daughter to be unhappy to only protect her parents' property. Hey, I'm the big merchant Linda Newman. I will start over again if I need to go to another country. Shall I move to Kika? Hoo, that's a problem. What will Trot be now without the Sylphid company? Wait a moment, what is with this gentle conversation? Mother. Sorry, King. I used it a bit to see if my daughter is happy because she wears a collar at all. I know, I did something wrong with Randall, yes. Eric looks up at the king and Linda with an unbelievable face. When I was playing chess drinking tea yesterday morning at Linda's house, Linda began to read letters and began to orchestrate. As I listened to it, I was relieved that Ange as well. She's a grown-up girl, but she doesn't know what's going on in front of her. Especially if you are deceived or if you are being held weak. If you are a little chaste, what relationship would you come to see? As said, perhaps neither I nor N0s would explain our relationship so much. If you're not clear, you can come back to my home, or you'll be good to run away. No, what? N0s, Andy, cool, your mother is the worst. Yeah, I got angry this time. Linda and the king laugh. What do you want me to do? No, I can't. Diane and Selenium also made amazed faces. An old man with bad personality. What are you going to do, Andy.San? You made a strange promise. Strange promise. I shouldn't have said I'd get married. When N0s.San wins and comes back, you will ravish her until she breaks. Does it count? As I murmured thinking about what it was, N0s came up to the audience as she came up with Aurora. If it not counts, it's a terrible story, so is not it good? You never will be broken. Well, I don't mind letting you faint. What was that, N0s? At first, I was scolded about the illegal invasion to the big arena, but I wasn't fortunate that it was well within the range of expectation. In the first place, there are important things, mostly for the Sword Saints. I guess there is no danger where something got in. Andy Smithson, you're free to have any hobby, but I will destroy you with full power if you throw my daughter away. On the way back with N0s, Linda.San threatened with a smile. That, Angelina.Sama. I will advance, someday, when I get stronger, then that time, let's play again. Eric gives a subtle expression with a smiley face. I think he was trying to make a love confession more like this, N0s. I don't know if you don't understand. Trainee Smithson, since 7 years ago I'm not a trainee, I am a 10-man captain of the Northern Crossbow Corps. Is that so? That's too quick, 7 years already. The bearded sword saint, 100-man Commander Grants, calls out to me. In the past he trained the new recruits, now he is the instructor of young sword saints like Eric. I wonder if I was taught by a great person again. Do you remember the names of all the students? Well, especially at that time there were a lot of kids who weren't intensely fighting, so it was a hard time for all the children, but I remember everyone. He has an amazing brain. Is that the crossbow corps leader over there? Yes, this is 100-man Commander Diane, who, that is scary. Well, is she the natural enemy of the Sword Saints? Diane, I don't want to be attacked with a grudge. No, she is a person who will manage somehow in the dark. If you have the opportunity to drink, we should drink together. Unlike in those days, you are an adult now, right? Yes, I was a little happy. Finally, King Ulysses slowly approached me. Youth, King, I will ask for the kingdom of Trot, yes. Why? I am a Trot citizen but I am a Celesta soldier. I still know if you talk to Anzeros or Eric. What, young people are healthy and relieved, ha. Ha, I don't really understand. Well, he may say it to all the young people. King Ulysses, something, Dark Elf young lady, Northern Corps Crossbow Corps, 100-man Commander Diane, 3 times of your life, hoo. Diane bows to King Ulysses and asks, I ask. King, why are you so impatient? Impatient, what do you mean? We gathered information in town and Corps headquarters. Recently you have been promoting rejuvenation in each direction suddenly. The big nobility is advancing by the king's advice and the substitution is proceeding and the Trot's army young chiefs have become conspicuous in the headquarters. I don't believe that the case of Anzeros and Eric Randall is now irrelevant. The elves are unreserved, the king sighs. Are you sick? About that, I reign now for 40 years. This body has passed over 77 years as well. When you look at common sense, whether special illness or not, won't it be something that will last longer? Do you want to abdicate? It won't be possible for us to live with my existence, depending on Celesta, well, the throne of such a country. There is also a story of who wants to do it. King Ulysses smiles lonesome. I told you I was sick. Oh, I am sick, this country is sick. The country. Okay, thanks to the support of sturdy merchants like Linda and the efforts of the bureaucrats of Celesta, it looks ostentatious, and this country seems to turn around without problem so that the people of this country will be at a loss. Yes, we are unable to do it, so we strongly unite in the same way, because we had strong old pride. We don't know the art of standing up from defeat. Celesta commercial country, I will not say that they are bad, rather they are trying to make good use of us. Since then, this country is sick. I'm sick, King. If you do come true, if yes, if you win, put your good young people back to the earth of Trot again. Beautiful elf, you need energy in this sickly country. It's up to them. Bowing again, Diane turns around. Let's go, Diane. For some reason, Diane was severely harsh. Getting off at the carriage station, we stand on the wide plain again. It is the place we hid our coach. Come to think of it, Anzeros, what did you talk to your mother? No, because something has broken up quite a bit. You said that you talked quite well since the morning. Well, after I met you for the first time, it was known to be a woman recently, and it was helped during this time, so I talked about everything until I was embraced by you. Hey, I don't remember the first time I met you. I wonder, are you an insensitive person? It hurts a little. But, I smile happily with Anzeros. When I was assigned to the Crossbow Corps for the first time, I was short and cheeky and I couldn't allow fine things. Moreover, as everyone wasn't familiar with white elves, they got noisy and didn't talk to me. Is that so? But you came and talked to me, you smiled and said that half-elves can work hard with everyone. That's why Celesta is a good place. Did I say that? I thought you'd forgotten it. It wasn't a bad wind. There was a time when you got drunk, you mistook me for someone inside your brain and hugged me. I was insulted as you were persistent, but since that time everyone in the escort infantry became familiar with me. I can't remember at all, yeah, but it's the accumulation of that kind of thing, that you have a bond with me. The lascivious Linda's face appears in front of my eyes. When you wanted me to help you, when you wanted me to be saved, it was you that always protected me without any kind of intention. Even if you know I was a woman, you constantly were unchanged. I think the importance of a little courage and gentleness when necessary is more important than something like strength when there is nothing. Go, it's only coincidence. Is something wrong? Layla, Jean, Aurora, Diane, and Selenium have not liked you without coincidence. Oh, well, that's right, timing. It's love, and Zeros pushes me into the carriage after saying what I understand. And in the darkness, she kissed me enthusiastically. Dot. Ho ho. I love you, Andy, she hurls her ears and smiles happily. However, behind us, there are people with expressions that tell they don't care or they find it unfair. Ah. Anne's Chan is stealing a march. Older sister, allow it for a while, 10. Man Captain. I also want a kiss. Well, I guess you haven't forgotten my appreciation for this time because you only care about N0s, right Andy? The others get on the carriage. I want you to be a laborer because I ran around quite a lot this time too. I am your slave, you can order me to straddle anytime, right? Oh well. Because it's okay. Everyone, let's have sex tonight. Everyone became serious for a moment. Did you say everyone at night? I heard it certainly. Well, everyone must do everything, Sensei will get angry. It was a promise to come inside everyone every day. Because Layla and I didn't have sex the day before yesterday and yesterday, are we the priority? Ho Selenium is sometimes sensible. I haven't done anything. I'm flying. My king, a message from the sacred place, what's wrong? The treatment of Lord Bonaparte's eyes seems to have succeeded, hasn't he given up halfway, but that's very joyful, to be sure, he went to the miraculous spring of Polka, ho ho ho, finally. Well, let's write a good conclusion. Arthur, my king, what are you planning? Ho ho ho, I'm just an old man who can sit down and can't do anything, Linda. Chapter 35. Hometown Apple. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Several hours have passed since we left the capital. It's getting cold, isn't it? Aurora clutched the area around the arm of her clothes and muttered. Well. A well-thought and well-ventilated south-made horse-drawn carriage. Even though we are heading for Polka which already has snow, everyone hasn't changed their clothes since we were around the desert. It's too much of a worry. Everyone put on something on top as soon as possible. If we go beyond this mountain it will get cold in earnest. The elder sister, what about the cold weatherproofed clothes? Layla. Chan was supposed to store them away, when looking at Chibi Layla riding the handrail of the horse-drawn chair was laughing with an awkward smile and scratching her head. It sticks to my human form. Let's descend and get down. It is seriously cold beyond this point. Bad setup. There is a mountain range between Polka and the capital. In the depths of many peaks raging out, we meet unexpected difficulties in the Snake Mountain Range, which is a branch of the Blue Snake Mountain Range. It gets cold all at once. Look, Layla, who transformed back into her human form after lowering the horse-drawn carriage, snaps with her fingers and clothes suddenly comes out from the space around Layla. How long has it been since I wore such clothes? While wearing a quilted coat, Diane looks uncomfortable. I have not been there for the first time in 30 years since I went to study the medicine in the Toho Mountains. Celesta isn't so cold. It is finally here. Selenium, looking up the Blue Snake Mountains, we indulge in emotion again. It was already 15 years since I was the last time at home. Again, I feel slightly uneasy if I think that I will return soon. More than half of my life have I been already away from Polka. No, I don't want to remember somewhere in detail, although I'd like to plan properly as I go home. Ahaha. Well, you were a child, right? Yes, the town I lived for the first 10 years of my life. I was 25 years old now as I return home. It is natural that I can't remember it properly. The scenery in my fragmented memory is an old home built from my grandfather's age, those who receive water gently thanks to the miraculous spring, the hot springs that were mainly a peeping place for me, and the moments I had with Apple at the hunter's cabin. It and my father's workplace. I can hardly remember anything else. I should have been running around quite a lot. A bit scary, is that so? Since Basan is almost like a rural village, it has become quite a town in just 7 years. I wonder what happened to Polka in 15 years. Certainly, it has changed quite a lot from the time I just got there. Is that so? What are going on? Polka, a little more, Andy.San, a little more, the promise with Apple, will be accomplished. Ah, promise. Apple. My first love. The ringleader who made me a face-eater and being misunderstood as a pervert who liked collars. No, I don't dislike it. But it is a bit different from that. It is not meant to be a female slave but a more pure meaningful meaning. Andy. Selenium. Everyone seems to have finished wearing their coats, called by N0s. We return to the carriage. I wonder why I feel uneasy. Returning to Polka shouldn't be at least a minus. Either my legs or Apple's consciousness, there is no assurance that it will surely be cured. My father may be angry. It's not just a plus but it's just 0 at its worst. It is not negative. Anyway, there shouldn't be bad things. But somehow my anxiety doesn't go away from my chest. I had been squeezing Selenium's hands for a long time in the carriage. The nostalgic town polka. We landed in the middle of a snowy road and hide the carriage as usual. Take as much luggage as possible, because it will just freeze when we leave it on the carriage. As commanded by Diane, we took everything we could carry and went to the entrance of the town. There were 2 young gatekeepers standing there. Welcome to Polka. Walking. That's the place. Diane says so and passes through. Don't get in the way of others. Really they let an elf enter, I murmured unintentionally. The gatekeepers looked strange, not at me, but to Selenium next to me. Selenium.Chan, you're Selenium.Chan, right? Hello. When Selenium shakes hands, the gatekeepers have both melting faces. They seem idle. Certainly, she is pretty cute as she doesn't look at a bit on human standards. What is it, Selenium.Chan, you brought so many beautiful people here. You went searching for blacksmith Andy. It seems they no longer recognize my face. That is, there is a big difference between my 10-year-old self and my current 25-year-old self. Hey, this guy is Andy. Oh. Andy. I missed you. Who are you guys? Did you forget us? That's heartless. Hey, I'm Keel of the steamed bun shop. Oh, that fat guy, you got thin. Don't say that I'm fat. Do you remember me? I'm Johnny of the liquor store. I forgot, I grow old. Ah, I came back. It is somewhat sad that I can't remember it clearly, but it is certainly my hometown. It is the city where I was born and raised. But what did you do? The former fatty of the steamed bun shop, Keel looks at me and makes a face that looks worried. Ah, this is what I came to cured. Were you not returning? Ah, now I'm a 10-man captain in Celesta's army. Seriously, if you are a 10-man captain in the Kingdom troops, you are a lieutenant. Yes, in the Trot Kingdom army, a 10-man captain is a lieutenant and a 100-man commander is a captain. By the way, regular soldiers, semi-soldiers are generally the same as in Celesta, and the master's rank is the commander-in-chief. Would you go somewhere again after you are cured? I don't know yet. I don't know if I will be cured or not, and I have to talk with my father about it. Keel looked delicate. What? Anyway, when Selenium.Chan comes back, I have to report properly to the Baron. Johnny pokes Keel with the handle of the halberd. Well, that's right. I will go back. I rely on you. Anyway, welcome back, Selenium, Andy. Johnny seems to be a guard now and gives way to us with his chest full of pride. Do you know the Baron? Selenium. What I would like to say is, Apple's involvement. Apple existed to promote dialogue between Trot, Celesta, and the Northern Elves. Is she still have an acquaintance in the form of friends or the identity undertaker? Good, let's go ahead and let's meet Apple first. Andy, it's not a matter of hurrying to bow to my father's feet, but Apple should wake up as soon as possible. Well, I'm spiritually trying to postpone anything scary of the results. However, there is no doubt that the highest priority is her. I understand, hospital, let's go. In the meantime, I will search for an inn. Older sister, I rely on you. Yes, Diane leaves the group. After Selenium's walks ahead, the rest followed behind her. Polka's hospital is clearly not fashionable. There is an excellent miraculous spring than doctors. There is little meaning to take the trouble to the doctor and cut or paste it or drink unfamiliar medicine. Still, the hospital was fine. Welcome to Polka's hospital, Selenium.Chan. It hasn't been 2 years. Hello, Apple, is she still there? Yes, she drinks the water of the miraculous spring on a regular basis. The nurse who was at the reception had a troubled face. If the spring can't do nothing, then even the doctor can't do it. I don't know if she is motivated or not. After all, but, I have been searching with Andy and found a Celesta dark elf doctor. Hello. I'm Hilda, a magic doctor. Roughly, the nurse hurriedly leaves the receptionist and goes to the doctor. Then, after the doctor who appeared spoke with Hilda.San for a few minutes, we passed through the back room. Apple slept quietly as if time had stopped. Apple, I call her name for the first time. My first love. It's a strange half-elf that got fucked by me and played around, yet she got crazy about me. Looking at her now, she is certainly different from Selenium. The hairstyle, hair color, ear length, and nice body are certainly similar, but they are not quite the same person. She deliberately resembles Selenium's hairstyle. To confirm N0's question, Selenium smiled and answered complicatedly. Yes, well, I didn't think it was so different from the beginning, but we were often mistaken as sisters. Aren't you blood connected? It's totally different because Apple is a half-elf of the Purple Clan in the northernmost forest and I am a half-elf of the Forest Elves on the east side of the Alfilm Empire. It's the first look. I mean, I don't really know about Selenium or Apple. As expected that, meanwhile, Hilda.San traces and investigates Apple's head and chest. When I heard the symptoms I thought, well though, what is it? She is dying, yes. Asking Hilda.San, who tell me something seemingly serious. Hilda.San lightly sighed and tapped the left side of the middle of Apple's chest slightly. She was killed instantly because her heart was shot, but, the miraculous spring is a great power, who let her restarted her life activities at the last minute. Occasionally, with high power output medical light technique, she has become like this. What do you mean? She is in a state where the soul is split into two. A feeling that she lost her cover by hurriedly turning over the overturned pan. Half of it was spilled out and it was missing from the current spacetime. No, that, it isn't the condition. What is the chance of healing? Thirsty. My heart is thumping backward. If it was useless, what should I do? I can't afford to leave things like this, just to say Apple was killed. Foolish. To me who was thinking about it, Hilda.San is again quite easy. I will heal her, that's good, but, it makes a blur. Do you have anything amazing penalty? Without the exception of Andy.Cohen, everyone else please leave. Alright, just a minute, everyone is suddenly kicked out including the doctors and nurses. And then. I only know how to do it with sex, I started to say something outrageous. What do you mean? Well, if you talk about something that is lost, I can use magic to return the lost essence, but the lost essence won't come back in that way. The essence is a special energy body to connect between the soul and the body. Usually a certain amount is synthesized at the time of birth because it uses the same thing throughout life. Basically it is not acquired afterward. It is not impossible to synthesize by magic tentatively, but there is a problem with the accuracy of the color adjustment. There is also a medicine to fill there, but this is also difficult to obtain. I don't understand it at all. In short, you putting in and squeezing out will cause things that are insufficient for arousal to occur in the uterus, so I will also use magic to wake her up from her dream. No, that. Isn't it a terrible reunion while raping a sleeping girl? Okay, I will apply contraceptive magic. It's not like that. Somehow, look, but she is Andy. Kuhn's female slave. There is such a story. Well, it's fine, isn't it? I'm using it, so it's okay. Ah, don't look at me like that. It can't be helped, for now, it is really the only way for surely awakening her. Sorry, Apple. Really sorry. I will awake you now. I ask Hilda. San to apply her magic on my foot so that I can move, to strip off Apple's futon and to take off her pajamas. Even Apple's underwear is removed. It is surprising that there is no resistance, as we undress a beautiful girl who doesn't resist at all. You okay, Andy. Kuhn? Are you sure you get excited instead? No, please don't fuss over me, Apple. I wanted it the most. I kept thinking for 15 years about that half-elf. I'm connected with that child. Actually, I wanted to embrace you more commonly after talking about various things. I wanted you to accept me in perfect condition. But I want to talk to you again. I want to see your smiling face as soon as possible. Therefore, my tongue is attached to her hairless, completely wet labia and my saliva are distributed. Apple's crotch, which has not yet revived correctly yet, isn't linked with pleasure. So it doesn't seem to be wet even if I stimulate it. Therefore I poured saliva as much as possible and smeared it. And then I leaned on her. Apple. I wet her vagina only with my own saliva. I'm trying to force it in there. Sure enough, I get stuck. I know that she is a virgin. However, the feeling of the lower body, which is trying to dissect the hymen but has no force at all, seems to be a little bit empty. However, that warmth is a genuine living girl. In the true sense, to return to the real thing. In order to hold a real girlfriend, I forcibly swung my waist. Keku. And a mandatory ejaculation. I hear the pulsation of my own ecstasy, which resonates in my ears and thought that it is just masturbation. I can hear the beat of my partner's heart when I hold her tightly. I'm glad that both of our heartbeats overlap. But with this is okay, isn't it? Yeah, Hilda. San nods. At that time, Apple's vagina moved. I could see the moving my head bubble. The face which seemed to be made with wax began to have an expression. Pain, puzzle. That's right. It is strange that you can be convinced in a brief moment that you receive a vaginal cum shot suddenly while being violated at the time of awakening. Still, I am. I have been thinking for 15 years and I can finally meet her. I was excited at that moment and waited. And then. Her eyes open. She focuses on me. And in the next moment. A scream enters my ears. And I'm thrust away. Jigu, AAA. I roll indefinitely. Go, good. She is probably confused. Because the 10-year-old me became a 25-year-old man. She doesn't know. Thinking, I look up at Apple. Yeah, selenium. It was unexpectedly confusing. Hi, I'm Andy. I don't feel like saying anything. When she heard that voice, Selenium entered first and opened the door as soon as she could touch the door. Apple. Selenium, I'm glad, that person, now, raped, Apple, it's okay, that's because he's Andy. Good, Apple, really. Selenium holds Apple firmly who cries. What is okay, who the hell is he? Andy. San, Apple, our master's Andy. San, 15 years have passed so he got bigger but that person is, Selenium. Apple grabs Selenium's shoulder and peels off slowly. 15 years. Apple, we came to Polka and met Andy, that was 15 years ago. Apple, you slept for 2 years. Wait, Apple shakes her head and compares selenium with me. What is Polka? Lu. Generally, why selenium? Are you in good shape? You had the Trent's disease. Apple, a bit. Wait, remember, where are you? But, yesterday, I passed through the borders of Alfilm. Apple, I felt that selenium couldn't believe it. Do you not have memories beyond that point? Several minutes later, selenium came out of the sick room. Andy, sorry, no, what's going on? Everyone except Diane was waiting in the hallway. Toward us, selenium opens her mouth in a very uncomfortable way. Apple's memory is at the time 3 months before she met Andy. San. So all memories with Andy are non-existent. My power left me. Chapter 36. The Waiting Reality. You are listening at novelfull.audio. She had the ability to judge a character. You are Andy Smithson. Yes, doctor, I heard from Hilda. San and selenium. You helped me with selenium's torrent disease and my half-death state, didn't you? That will be so, thank you, very much. Since it seems that there is no doubt that fact, I thought that I only have to say thank you. The half-elf girl talked as if she was embarrassed with her unclear thankful thanks before she stared at me, a stinky stranger. Apple, why do you stare at me? Selenium, because of this person. This is the person who loved Apple. He was the kind of person who loved to cry that you didn't want to leave, but it is not normal anymore, like a collar or a female slave. Selenium, it is still strange. Apple. I raise my hand to stop selenium, who raised her voice. It's certainly not normal. What she is saying isn't wrong. Andy. San, it isn't wrong. I am surprised myself and make a voice that sounds good. More than that, she forgot about 15 years or more, which is hard for her. Apple looked very uneasy. The only selenium who is supposed to be her best ally is insisting that Apple herself should also be a female slave, declaring her slavery to an unknown man. The best friend of the kind is suddenly saying such a thing in the life of the persecution of the half-elf. If she doesn't understand anything, she must be feeling desperate now. She needs a friend now. Selenium, give me a minute with Apple. Yes, in the hands of selenium is the old collar that was supposed to be returned to Apple. A childish promise that lost its value. My life support has lost its meaning so much. The feeling was not representations in that, and feelings which disappeared before it went around in the body when the one like the emotion was born vaguely, like having been wrapped in haze suddenly while spinning the word with the care in the mouth while spun and was tasted. I wonder if this kind of feeling is emptiness. Selenium remained in the hospital, as we go out to the street. Is it memory loss in this case? When asking Hilda. San, the answer came back frantically. I guess it's nothing like that. Even if you sprinkle water on a dry cuisine, everything will return to its original state. I see, but perhaps memories may be confusing. She may recall someday or maybe not. Can you do something with magic? Magic can't heal the mind. Hilda. San's voice takes on a slightly missing color. You can show your memory to a person, you can send a false event, there is a way to brainwash with magic, but there is no way to heal wounds of the heart, memories, or the mind. The mind is originally in a different shape, and because it is a delicate thing, putting the hand is not necessarily healing. But it's not healing, it's remodeling. That's right. For example, if, from now on, Hilda uses magic to make Apple a child under the memory of my memory 15 years ago, it is not healing to Apple. It's just pressing. Even if memory is broken, Apple's now is only there. If I were this, I would compensate from a trustworthy world like Army or Polka that some memories disappeared, but none of the world supplements her memory anywhere. The one that connects her with me is only a childish promise from 15 years ago. I realized it again. She didn't know anything about me, I knew nothing about her, just because the warmth was there and we promised to someday warm up again. I am nothing for her. That was somewhat sad. It is probably because selenium, Diane, and zeros, and Layla are supporting my back, though it is done in a very small way. Nonetheless, there is no point in keeping in mind Apple forever. I decided to proceed to finish the next matter. Andy, how was it? Diane caught up. It seems that we got accommodation. As I'm trying to figure out how I can explain this situation, Hilda San explains it briefly. Is that so? Memory. Hilda.San's story seems not to have better chances. It's possible, but I need to try to the utmost. Hilda.San says so to us. Well, after all, it would be that degree of hope, but if you don't believe, your head won't work well. In the meantime, here too we could get accommodation for 8 people, if I can use it. I don't mind it. As I say it, it makes me somewhat depressed to explain to my father. Ah. A little feeling that my heart moved well. Let's not soak in the emptiness. Right now, I'm definitely going to be calm. Well, you can have 8 guests stay, so it seems that the house is not that big like this one. Well, honestly, it seems like quiet sleeping and like 4 people in a room. Isn't it good to use the place where Selenium settled? No, it's hard to recommend because the Hunter hut isn't good at all, just a little bit. Getting back in a while, we walked towards my parents' home, which is out of town. And we arrived there. My parents' home for 3 generations. A brick house with a roof and the feeling of clinging to the ground. There is a nice smell of immature iron, Jean says with a nod. Immature iron. The smell of freshly forged iron is different. This workshop is working properly. That's what it feels like. If you understand, the sense of dwarves' minerals is too much to go away, but I often don't understand, but somehow I understood freshly forged iron. My father is probably inside. I try to knock on the door. I felt somewhat different, as I was trying to put a hand on the doorknob, remembering that my appearance is different so that even Keel didn't recognize me. The hand is reciprocated several times between the doorknob and the plane of the door. Everyone smiles at such actions of me. Never mind, I put my hand on the doorknob. The doorknob got caught from the other side and a face jumped out from the other side. I'm surprised. That face is about the height of my chest. That means it is still a child. It is a girl. A child. I surely should have been an only child. If my father and mother do their best in the gap where I ceased, it will certainly be about this time, certainly. No way. Uncle, who are you? Past son, I'm supposed to be. The child looked up at me with a suspicious look. Horn. 2 horns. She looks like a human but has ogre's blood. Oka.San, a young uncle came. Hey, I felt unpleasant. And soon there are light footsteps and a woman comes out. Aren't you mistaken something? Or are you already drunk during the daytime? I don't know this woman. It isn't my mother. Wait. It was supposed to be my house, which had been since the old days. Who are you? Who are you? I'm Andy Smithson. I should be the son of the house owner here. I don't know. The woman saw me with eyes as if she saw a suspicious guy. Wait a moment, what does that mean? There is no such thing. This isn't your home. Please leave, point blank. Wait, it isn't a joke. Hey, I can't do that. What's going on? Calm down, Andy. Diane pulls my shoulder. I can't go against that power. But my eyes naturally glare at that woman. The woman shut the door and called someone from the inside. And in dozens of seconds, the door opens again. This time a gigantic man appeared. Who are you? If you are a customer you have to go to the workshop. You're. I finally realized that I knew the giant. Jackie-san. Is it possible? Half-ogre and half-giant, Jackie Romero. He is my father's disciple. From behind Jackie, the woman still looks intimidates at me. If you are persistent, we will call the military police, idiot. This man is the son of my master. What a rude thing to say. Jackie yells at the woman. Because of his loud voice, some snow of the roof fell down. I was a little relieved. I am sorry, my wife is strongly alive because my daughter is bullied a bit. Ah, I see. Human distrust. Besides that, where are my father and mother? Ah, you don't know Andy. Botchin. I had a bad feeling. Under the moonlight in the night, I am immersed in the hot spring. I had collapsed fully. Jackie's story was shocking. My father was killed by a horse-drawn carriage long ago. My father seems to have increased drinking alcohol since he heard that I was driven into war. Those built in the Trot Army were still known to be safe, but I was placed close to the border on the final stage of the war. The war ended in the place where we were assaulted and I was incorporated directly into the Corps of Celesta. It seems that I was deemed to be dead without the pursuit of it. So he began drinking until he went out every evening, and one day he was stumbling out of town and was run over by a horse-drawn carriage. Residents of Polka, even if they have considerably major injuries or major diseases, they don't die rarely owing to the miraculous spring. However, it was said that my father was stepped on by the horse and the ribcage was crushed by the wheels, which means instant death. As long as I can think of, it is the worst way to die. Then my mother, who lost her son and her husband, decides to let go of our house in disappointment. Originally, Polka is also easy to be attacked by monsters, and there are also sudden attacks from the elves. With one hand you cannot keep slowing down. Although there is the miraculous spring, it is a painful land to live by yourself. So it seems that she has now migrated to folklore in the West. And the house and workshop were entrusted to Jackie. San, who was supporting the workshop from the time my father began to drown in alcohol. If it is known that young master is alive, it would be a good idea to return the home and workshop to you, Jackie. San scratched his head while seeming a bit disappointed. As you can see, I now have a wife and daughter. It's hard for a half-ogre like me to find a house and workplace. I understand painfully what Jackie. San says. Half is half. It isn't like half-elves, but it does not change with communities that belong to it. The land of relief that I had in my hand. Even though there is an obligation, it won't be something that I can relinquish. In the end, I couldn't say anything to Jackie and his family, and I could only address them. Andy. When I turned around, there was Selenium. She is naked inside the hot spring bath, of course. Here is the men's hot water. I know, it's still business hours, it's not funny if anyone comes in. That's right, Selenium laughed brightly and sat down next to me in the hot water. But, I am Andy. San's female slave. As long as Andy thinks so, I will definitely be your female slave all the time. I'm with you everywhere. Selenium seems to have thought about the conversation with Apple. For a while, the two of us looked up at the night sky in the hot spring for men with a bonfire. Selenium, my father is dead, I tried to speak. Oh really, didn't you know, Selenium? I didn't hear it. We were not exchanging openly with the people from Polka, as it wasn't so long since Apple was shot. I see. Speaking of which, she couldn't have even entered the town until Celesta won. Even when my father died, Selenium wouldn't have been able to walk through the streets altogether. Besides, she merely pledged slavery to me. There is no obligation to care about my father. Many of the half-elves are spoiled by their parents. Even if they can be related to someone, they don't care about their parents' generation. What kind of dad was he? He was a useless father, I answered immediately. He was weak to alcohol, but he loved it. He didn't like to calculate difficult things, and when my mother wasn't there, he always gets angry at my mother. He was also collecting bills, and when he got a glimpse of a beautiful older sister, he worked cheaply. There are also 4 times that I know that he escaped from the guarantor of other people's debts, that is, but he was such a good father who helped me when the people of the town said, "Your smart son is in trouble." Even at the 3 studios, the craftsmen who were indebted to my father didn't try to take back from him as he crafted things by himself. My father's nostalgic miserable laughter, so the appearance of the people in the city who are canceling various kinds of ginger, come to the night sky. Although I don't know it surely, it was my father who always felt like caring for people and would feel comfortable working for everyone for that reason. He was like Andy.San, I like alcohol but I am not in debts, for anyone, you're desperately trying, to be kind to them and that's why you care for everyone. I wonder if I'm my dad alike, maybe your Selenium laughed at me. However, wrapped in Selenium's gentle voice, I'm feeling her warmth and softness. Emotions finally began to return to my chest where the gas seemed to have escaped. I didn't pay back anything to my father yet, tears come out. Even though I heard the story from Jackie.San, there was a lingering feeling that Apple had a cold attitude. Although I was shocked, I didn't think it was sad at all. I wanted to be a better son to him. My father, I wanted to tell him. Someday I would like to collaborate with him to smith swords and shields, or take turns every night when I grow up to be an adult and let him think of his grandson's name because he has the naming rights, or, I wonder if it becomes more effective if I massage his shoulders. I wanted to do it all. I wanted to return the happiness that my father gave me. I was happy to be born in Polka and I wanted to tell him that his son was fine, so I came back here. I had a running nose in the middle. Tears didn't stop. I was finally realizing that I had lost my father forever and my tears dripped down into the hot spring. It's fine, Andy.San, Hiku, your dad, he was a really nice person. I tried to answer her, but I couldn't answer. Holding me like that from behind, Selenium begins to talk kindly. As far as I can remember, my elf mother died, my human father thinks I'm a nuisance. I grew up feeling that there was no place for half-elves. The only one who accepted me was Apple, who had not the same whereabouts like me. Our looks are good, so we came closer just in one night. But I understand. I feel like I'm going to stomp the next day. Andy was the first to do it. Do you know about Trent's disease? I shake my head sideways. It's a sickness where the body gradually becomes like a tree. It is also said to be a kind of curse. I was hit by a poison arrow from the forest elves of Half-elves, which was the origin of the disease. Your relatives. Yes, the elves over there are overbearing. They don't acknowledge the existence of their blood that is outside their will. So I was destined to become a tree. As it is, I thought it was good. I was tired of traveling every day, but Apple tried to help me. For me, Apple is like a half-body. But I didn't think that the person who wanted to stay by the side always appeared without abandoning such me. That's why Andy is so important. Even if Andy is married to the same family, you're irreplaceable enough to be kept forever. So we wanted to be your female slaves. Selenium hugged me. I know that when I was a child, I had monopoly greed that I knew nothing about. But the monopoly greed was enough. We wanted to be monopolized as it is. In a dirty way, Apple was even trying to educate me to think so. I don't need that. You guys are mine. That's why Andy.San was so happy that he had tears when he learned that he still had a half-elf as his own lover. You're the owner of us because you really know who we are. That's why I thought Apple would be happy, too. I wonder why it's going to happen like this. We don't want such luxury and happiness. Selenium, I felt the warmth of Selenium and told her to squeeze me. I'm not going to give up. The dream which had been seen here is never made the memory here. Someday, I want to make Selenium and Apple happy, so if Apple can't remember me, that's fine. I'll fall in love with Apple again. I'll turn her around. There is no place left in this town that I should stand. The house which had to be inherited isn't available anymore, and the girl who was sure to wait didn't wait for me either. However, I was born here and fell in love here, and I have lived aiming at coming back here. I have no recollection of it. I don't have a house. I'm still not defeated by reality. I don't have a hard time doing anything. I want to be happy. 10 bells rang in the distance. Bonfire is half burnt out and no one came in after this long time. However, there was a sound of water somewhere far away. I thought that someone might have seen the naked Selenium, but the good-hearing Selenium wasn't supposed to be noticed and didn't seem to mind, so I kept being hugged by Selenium without saying anything. Andy, Smithson, I don't know. I can't remember at all. Why do you feel like this? Chapter 37. Miraculous Spring Recuperation. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Polka's morning greeted me after a long absence as I sleep in a more fluffy bed than necessary. Cold, inside the accommodation that Diane arranged. It is nice to have a comfortable and fluffy feeling than the bed I used at that house, but thanks to it is hard to get out and it can't be helped. Polka has the miraculous spring, sometimes not only from the north-western plains but also from other parts of the continent. People gather for seeking healing, so the accommodations are very abundant. About twice the population of the town, there are enough rooms to stay. Thanks to it, the inn was smooth and helpful. Yes, Andy. Cohen, try stretching your ma. At the inn's cafeteria, Hilda. San made a morning examination. I drank the water of the miraculous spring yesterday and soaked in the hot springs. That means my legs should be getting better. Ah, it worked, it worked. It is truly a miraculous spring. Somehow I was afraid to know the result, so I hadn't attempted seriously until I came to the dining room, but the ankle moved a bit forward. But, even if it is a miraculous spring, does it just improve this much? You are wrong, look a bit. Andy. Cohen. Hilda. San turns my knee and traces around the scar. In this area, the healing power of the miraculous spring is in conflict with the engraved crest to stabilize the transplanted deer meat. Is that so? Even if Hilda. San explains the concept, I don't understand it well. The essence is that the crest of the deer part is disturbing for pure regeneration, but if I erase it suddenly, I can't use my walking resurrection magic on it and the blood vessel might blow a bit. I will cut the crest little by little and the healing power of the miraculous spring should be replaced with stabilization measures of the crest of the foot. I guess it's about a week if calculate carefully. Perhaps I can go for it if you heal in the miraculous spring while adjusting the engraving every morning and evening. But it is amazing, the healing water is pushing even the magic of medical measures. I want to do a research. Hilda, who has recently begun to shine at the part as a doctor, hides a full color blur. If there was no such person, I couldn't do more than use the power of the miraculous spring. I am grateful. When everyone was having breakfast, Apple, Selenium and a good-looking mustached old man appeared in the inn. Well, Baron. Sama, let's get in. The mustached Baron comes in comfortably. The nobleman governing Polka, Baron Duran Goodall himself. He should already be over 50 years old, but he still looks like to be in his 30s by the effect of the miraculous spring. Andy Smithson. I heard that the memento of the Smithsons family is here. I raised my hand. Baron. Oh, Andy. It's been a long time. The Baron who came close to us. Actually, in the old days, I was acquainted with this person. Your wife is energetic. Oh, she is fine. She gave birth to a 5th child recently. Wait, Baron, your wife is already over 40, awawawawa. The Baron blocked my mouth. Ah, Andy, I don't know where she is listening, but don't talk about her old age. Does she care? Quite, well, that annoying wife is too old to care about her age. And the Baron coughed, as if to clear his throat. Let's keep the story around here. I heard from Selenium in advance. Are you really in the northern core of Celesta? Yes, I wanted to contact you. Did you hear about your father? Yes, it was a pity for him. Romero also works hard, but again it is a big loss of Polka that someone as good as Blacksmith Smithson has gone. Thank you for your words, although I cried hardly yesterday. As soon as I received the condolence from the Baron, I'm about to cry again with the regret that remained in my chest. After a while, the dull air flowed. Well, that story aside, it seems that you immediately made Apple awake. Yeah, her memory is lost quite a bit and she has also been considerably wary. The Baron makes a bitter laugh. Apple is listening to our exchange with Selenium that smiles bitterly beyond that, with an unspeakable expression. But please be relieved, I will take care of her safety. Never again will I let the elves in the north harm her. My safety. Yes, yet still, there is a part where peace is kept because the sniper incident split the opinions of the northern elves. Do they regard Apple as a family member or an outsider? That opinion is divided among the elves. If it is a problem only of the relative without the objective person, only the outsiders such as half-elves are good. However, Apple was in a position intervening by humans. For humans, Apple is also a fellow of elves and is also a part of them. In this sense, humans who fulfilled the duty of rescue go through morality. Meanwhile, elves who came to the means of shooting in the name of sanction for greedy people at that time. The situation of murdering a half-elf, which is originally a third-party position, irrelevant to a human by misjudgment, is a major blunder, and it is also a moral view from the human family that they couldn't rescue her. This greatly hurt the elves' opinions, which had been rejecting Trot's humans as barbarian people. Indeed, Apple is known to the identity at first. It is a girl who draws blood from the northern elven, although the clan is different from what turfs are around here. Undoubtedly from a human tribe, it is a close relative of the northern elves. Sin is by no means small. Her painful appearance has weakened the elf's tone largely, and it has become a symbol that progressively advances diplomatic negotiations so far. But what about their attitude when she awakes? They still don't know. The Baron gave a small sigh. A person who is sleeping cannot ask anything. But once that person awakens, it is not a quiet symbol, but a selfish creature. If you talk about the extreme, it's possible to insult the family and punishment it again as a foreign object, and it's also a way to treat our attitude to cure that. How can the elves be so cowardly? Have they no pride? Even the elves are just mere people who live long and can cast magic, so are they supposed to imitate snobbers like that? But it's not an unlikely story, as she said that, Aurora in the table near me took her teacup. The northern elves are stubborn and famous. It is because there is a comfort that none of them are committed, so they can ask you to abandon the resolution of things at the end of the last and let you withdraw. The Baron is bewildered whether it is not thought that Aurora is my companion. Well, is this elf lady with you? Well, around here everyone is my company worker or boss. Ho, you're telling something else to others, is it not so? No, please be silent as it is confusing. When thinking, the Baron embraced my head and whispers. Yo, you're doing. You gathered beautiful dressed woman, isn't it? No, because you came to Polka, will you introduce the hot spring? Good job, as one would expect from Andy. This middle-aged man and I, 15 years ago, we were in the same hot spring peeping group. When we peeped and were found out, he promised me 10 gold coins and I purposely made a flashy escape so that the Baron has time to escape. Shameful memories. I'd like to introduce myself, as it is a good opportunity. I'm Duran Gudo, Baron of Polka. Lightly arranging his mustache, the Baron elegantly bowed towards our group. We looked at him and introduced ourselves in turn. Celesta Northern Corps Crossbow Corps, 100. Man Commander Diane, the same, 10. Man Captain and Zeros, Clave's Forest Elf and Dior's daughter, Aurora. Pleased to make your acquaintance, Jean Cracks of the Desert Labyrinth. I'm counting on you, I am a doctor at Talc in the south of the desert and my name is Hilda. And the last one is Layla, who is standing up and walks until the window. Opening the window to a big snowy field. With that window behind her, she looks like a cool model. The Lord of Russell Labyrinth's Dragon Palace and Andy Smithson's Mount, Black Dragon Layla, Bocce. Layla took her off clothes daringly and became naked. Don't take them off. Oh ho, Baron's mouth grow long. And the sensation that the brain is shaken. After a moment, Layla's appearance suddenly disappeared and a black dragon appeared on the snowy field outside. Hi. Baron and Apple withdraw. Selenium is calm. Don't take your clothes off so suddenly. You don't have to be in your dragon form. Ho ho, playful, Layla returns to her human form immediately. Good grief. She took up the taste to surprise people. From daytime I am onsen medical treatment. Sometimes go up and ask Hilda to rewrite his crests and relax at the hot springs one day. I was doing that, but it turned out to be strange on the way. Sluggish, yes. After entering the hot spring many times, I go out and I go to Hilda.San's place. Hilda.San says something strange suddenly while touching my leg. That's right, let's enter here together. Older sister. Pounding and taking my hand, we went to the female hot spring. Wait, what? Anyway, it is a catastrophe if I enter the female hot spring now that I became an adult, as I'm indeed no child anymore. Wait, Hilda.San. Yes, Diane.Chan, Ans.Chan and Layla.Chan, everyone is coming. Therefore it's okay if you go with everyone, Noel.N, that's not the problem. I see, it is truly my older sister, is it the meat wall operation? Diane. San, I'm not convinced. In that way, I'm really being thrown into the female hot spring. And when I'm found out by a local woman, alright, if a local woman comes, we will build a circle that surrounds you, so that you won't be seen. Hoo, like that, I don't know if I will find out as I get fired up. Jean, don't swim. And zeros, don't be stiff. Ho, good hot water. Whichever, on the occasion doesn't one or two of you want to become pregnant at the same time? Isn't it a powerful miraculous spring that echoes through the continent, that it's easy to get pregnant, which reminds me, Andy, did you sleep alone yesterday? No, why do you talk to me alone at least, Diane? I enter the female hot spring while being guarded by women in all directions. It is dangerous if I'm found out. I have a strong erection as this is too erotic as I only see naked bodies wherever I look. What should I do? When? Diane and the others, Hilda.Sensei, there, Selenium and Apple appeared. They are both here since the morning. Of course they are both naked. The feeling I saw Apple is a bit bigger, with big boobs and a nice butt. Apple.Chan, could you organize your heart a little? Not yet. Well, it is hard to say that it will be perfect from yesterday to today, so please do it slowly because you have time. Your skin became rough as you were having a long sleep, right, so will you immerse slowly? Yes, apparently Apple seems to be very fond of Hilda.San. Well, it's a bit. Selenium is peaceful with Diane and N-Zeros. Apple sometimes glares at Selenium with a glance. After all, is it hard your close friend is occupied by someone else? Apple's shoulders become stiff firmly. I see. They said that they would be together forever. Unnoticedly, Selenium has many friends now, so is she lonely. There is no choice that everything is changing so much suddenly, as it can't be rewound, so accept it little by little. Alright, both Selenium and Andy love you all the way. There is no doubt, yes, because Andy has been kept thinking about you for 15 years, for us it is a something to be jealous. Apple has a complex face. But you guys are wearing collars, with that person's name engraved, Selenium, and zeros, Aurora, Layla and Jean. It is not removed by them even when they entered the bath. Everyone is talking about slavery. Isn't it that you are too conservative? There is no sound coming out. I don't mind, Doctor and 100.Man Commander who are not wearing collars or are all friends. 10.Man Captain is sure to make us all happy. In Celesta, one woman isn't necessarily determined to be a single woman, well, that. He didn't ask us to put on the collar as he embraced us. I think it is abnormal. Apple's argument is unilaterally correct, yup. I'm not saying a single word, as I hide behind Aurora and Layla, but it's an extraordinary damage. Well, this morning she won't approve of me either. I think that it is abnormal, Apple repeats. Stop it. My life is gone. But, why, when I look at that person, my heart aches from time to time, even though I shouldn't know him at all. I'm curious, Apple, Chan. Apple. Maybe, she remember me somewhat. For me, my life was almost like nothing except that I met Selenium. There was no good memory. There was no place anywhere, nobody wanted me. Apple hangs down her ears. That's why I don't mind disappearing for about 15 years. Selenium is healthy, and I'm living here, too. Sex with people you don't know. If you've gotten so much better once in a while, that's fine. I think I can understand that, but can you do it? Yes, what scares me the most is that this is a kind of feeling. Apple started to appeal to Hilda. San. Even though I don't know anything, I also don't remember anything, but when I see that person at all, the core of my head is numb, the back of my stomach is numb, my heart is squeezed. I'm afraid of this feeling. Apple.Chan, I won't accept it. I want to choose my favorite person by myself. Fate, instinct, those are only excuses. I don't want to yield to such. Apple. I see. That's right. Even though she doesn't know how to love, only the soul arbitrarily wants an partner. It is romantic depending on what you say, but it is a feeling of bad feeling that it is the same as being brainwashed. Especially for half-elves who are at the mercy of all, such as power, tribe and society, other than their own will, it may be abhorrent than anything else. I see, my voice went out unintentionally. Unintentionally. In other words, I was inadvertently heard. Ah, Andy.San, are you here? Selenium stopped smiling and trying to rejoice to see me in the same situation as last night. Apple was stiff with her eyes wide open. She trembles with a shudder and begins to cry. And then. No. Gun, intense straight. I got nosebleed and sink into the hot water. Ah, Apple. When she gets confused, she is much more violent than Selenium. Ho, great miraculous spring, good grief. Chapter 38. Orphan's Hesitation, Provocation of Beauty. Aurora, you are listening at novelfull.audio. 3 days have elapsed since I started the miraculous spring recuperation. Hun, I guess it's okay until this time. Yes, Andy.Cohen, move your leg. No, that is your penis, isn't it? No, it's inconceivable to force the cock only to put on the lower body with full power. Is it also true? In front of Hilda.San's eyes, looking at my leg gently, the left leg gently lifts little by little. About 20 degrees. It is severe even if I snort roughly more. Thank you for your hard work. The feeling is coming back. That reminds me, I'm a little fuzzy, but somehow I feel like my foot is coming back. I see. Yeah, correct upward calculation. I wonder if I can finish in 3 more days. It's the number of days before you can walk without a cane. I think that it still takes a week before the scar disappears completely. Scar will disappear. Or rather, the lesion part will be completely destroyed by your own tissue. I wonder if it feels like I'm getting in the way now. The deer meat line is getting shorter every day and I can see it. Look, now that you say that, as Hilda.San points out, the transplanted part supplemented with venison has become about 2/3 of the original. When this disappears, my recuperation is completed. It is clear that I can go back to a body that doesn't bother anyone in any way. Even so, it's amazing. Yeah, I'm really entranced. Hilda gets enthusiastic. I thought that she was impressed only by the effect of the miraculous spring, but she seems not to have been fascinated apparently. Andy.Cohen, when will you restart Eki? Why, I was about to answer Hilda.San. Hey Andy, Johnny of the liquor store heard a bit apart. His eyes were staring at the lower half as he was approaching with a smiling face. It's a suspicious face. What's going on? What kind of relationship do you have with Hilda? San in the first place. No, that, for now, Hilda.San, let's keep silent for a while. Generally this bastard. Even if you have the pair of Apple and Selenium, you still want a beautiful married wife who is a dark elf, has huge melons and is a doctor. I can't forgive you. Yo, you also have a pretty wife. Jessica the florist seems to have married him. I met her a while ago, but she still has great boobs as usual. I think that they are a happy couple. In the first place, that Hilda.san, this is the men's hot spring. Although it is for Andy's treatment, it is enviable that you stick to him only. No, we are glad to see your boobs, is not it? When will Andy attack you? Ooh. It's okay, it's not a body that you want to do in the bath yet, so don't worry about it, as I will hide it properly as soon as you recover. Hiding. What do you want to hide? Of course it is, Hilda, stop fooling around and make it difficult only because you have fun. I just said a fact, plan, only being brought into the female hot spring is pardoned, so it will be a problem for girls to enter the men's bath, so to speak, so it's a few days to decide to have Hilda alone, which is the minimum necessary in the first place. Hilda.san was talking about the talc rule of the example and the temptation intention to me at the same time. Even at the early stage, even the thin cloth equipment was thrown out and she bathed with me in full nudity. Well, there is no such a great swordsman in polka, but it would have been lightly, as Hilda was skilled in the use of illusion magic even if she is attacked suddenly, but I wonder if it is too much to do it. Selenium and Hilda's savvy efforts have shortened the distance between Apple and me at a rate as fast as the feeding of wildlife. Apple and Selenium, who usually stay at the Baron's house, came to eat in the inn and took a seat near me. Training to repair the relationship began. Hey, Apple, Andy.san knows that you have no memories, so he won't attack you suddenly. Oh yes, Andy.kun is a demon to you who will surely forgive him, but other than that it is comparatively poor. I'll be the first to attack you when it comes to it. Ah, Hilda.san sly, me too. PL, please do something strange in some place elsewhere. In general, I'm not scared of Andy.san, it's my own self. Forgiving. Should I not be able to hear such a confession? I hear it all. Relationship Repair Strategy, Part 2. The Venturing Date. However, Apple wants to keep a distance with me more than necessary. My foot still needs the cane and we both aren't bright in the geography of polka now. It is not going to throw out such two people suitably even though it is a date, and it is limping that someone of the companion does not follow. Therefore, it becomes a date with the tour attendant of the state that there is a person between two people every time of the date. At least, if my feet go back to perfection, I can take her even if there is something. I'm a little unwilling to send salt to my rivals, but well, Andy's first is I'm sure that she feels safe and comfortable. Aurora, you don't care whether you are willing to cooperate or not. I don't want to hurt at least Andy.san's intention, but I'm not going to give up on my pride that I'm the best woman for Andy.san. By turns, this fellow is accompanying us to progress little by little. There is nothing in the vicinity of polka even if you say you're on a date. Speaking of anything, it is about the miraculous springs, miraculous spring, the hot springs and the hunter hut used by Apple. There may be other things, but at least I don't know them now. We were living here, didn't we? The hunter's hut. It is located in the vicinity of the forest and a hunter-based facility when hunting for animals. Even though polka's hunter is a seasonal work, because it is hard during winter, Pilgrim's partner gets more money than hunting, so it isn't be used at all even if you notice it. It is a place where Apple was. It is supposed to be. In such a place, have we lived for more than 10 years. When I open the door of the hunter's hut, it is full of the smell of dust. It was quite different from when I knew. The bed is a bright-colored quilt that seems to be liked by Selenium. Pieces of equipment necessary for daily life, such as pots and dishes, are much more comprehensive than when I was hugging Apple, but they were all dusty over the last 2 years. Apple seems to be touching them and making efforts to bring out her memories. How is it? Wait, yo, you don't come close. It is sad that Apple is so super wary. That's not the way it sounds, is it? I'm sorry. I remembered something. I remembered a bit, but did you remember? Well, this is great progress. No, I don't understand. So. When Apple says that she doesn't understand what it is better to have her withdraw. Those who are listening don't know what Apple felt. When Apple took a deep breath, she mutters something. That's just what I was doing, just a little bit. I looked like I was in the middle of a torn picture scroll. Somehow, the image hugging a boy naked, letting him touch the inside of my body as requested, tiny boys, that, penis, with my mouth, that was me. Apple stared at me with a bright red face. Well, what kind of kid was that? It's such a tiny habit. Only that it was my favorite child. I don't feel comfortable, I feel somewhat badly impatient. After you are gone, I comforted myself, I didn't mean to be afraid, just then I just did not know that you had a dick. Terrible, what kind of baby are you? Really? I don't know the meaning of the relationship too much. Think about it now. Aurora took a sigh. My face is red. Andy.San, it's been a long time since you were a kid, was it flourishing? Well, that can't be denied, and so, it was that she tried to make you pleased from the position of being a female slave or the like because you were about to leave her behind, as if she tried to make herself mellow in her impatience, and that was continued by Selenium.San, I hear bad, but it may be so if I see only the facts. It's amazing gratitude. 15 years ago. Aurora again sighs. Sue, such a service can't be forgotten, and she has been frustrating for 15 years, as Andy.San's begun to have different lovers, so is it, right? I can't say that, that's why I said not to stay away. You don't understand why your body responds like that. She is reacting. Waving her hand to such Apple, Aurora turns to me. Well then I will be comforting him instead, are not you complaining? Instead. Apple.San will be left out. I won't accept it that you lost your memories as you are consent of this event. So now we are here to make a firm love with you. I'm not going to start fighting something that you don't see abruptly, although I am burning you so much. I complain about Andy.San's long-lasting love with you, and I am unnecessary to refrain from a woman who is excusing the attitude of her back quarreling, so it's useless here. In other words, this place is the origin point, the coma in the corner of the cascading game, so to speak. Even here, neither do I want to lose, as every day there are extremes. You do not understand what will come the day after tomorrow. Laughing at Apple sitting at a distance with a snort, Aurora takes off her clothes. Apple that gets hooked by this elf princess presses her body against me, looking at my surprised eyes. You're an elf, you're not half-elf, but you're not like you're in a lonely situation. Who decided who is in love with people is a half-elf's privilege. Originally elves are stronger than humans. It is not only half-elves that want to have sex with humans. That's right, but if you're such a good-looking elf, besides, Apple's words, let Aurora snatch. Shut up, please. I like what I like and want what I want. What is it that is tied to the heart and love? Such a classification is sure to be good by reason or instinct or the pretext. I like what the world says because I have decided to like it. If you are disturbed, you can kick the world. It is good if my love is permitted in the world. Living in the present is not to mourn the past. To dream of the future, to be determined by these hands, a dignified speech. I wonder if parentheses have arrived unless she rubbed my penis. I can tell you that you're not a freak. Oh, what am I a freak now? The love that instinct demands, very much. What is the obstacle to doing that? You are only accustomed to your poor circumstances. Aren't you just afraid to be disillusioned with yourself, poor, and being greedy and happy? Don't say the things I knew. Oh, surely I've been talking too much. Andy.San, I have kept you waiting. I'm sorry. Aurora has a smiling face and she starts sucking on my lips and slowly pushes me over the dusty bed. You are so sympathetic to yourself at best. I will reach out to what I want in the meantime. Don't bully her too much. It's not Apple's own fault that she doesn't remember. No, fear of the past, fear of itself, fear of the world, continuing the standstill is definitely that woman's own problem. Defeating the stated past, the courage to trace the steps to the future on a blank sheet without drafts is not available only in time. Aurora straddles over me and welcomes my son in her hot vagina. To walk into the future with you, to support you, and to bask in your love, it can be in exchange for the pride of my past which is not boring. I'm not such a big guy, no, everyone admits that you will make every woman happy, so that if you keep on walking for just that, because you keep this good woman, you haven't given up anything about that woman. You. Apple gazed at Aurora who wiggles on me. Aurora continues to suck me up with her youthful and plump genital as ever, giving Apple an eye full of confidence and compassion. Aurora.san, you, hoo-hoo, I love Andy.san. It does not remain to the grain of this body and the ovum, and Andy.sans is adoring. That alone won't let me lose to anyone. I will accept anyone's challenge. Apple stands up. Holding down her pulsating chest she walks up to the bed by herself. Not yet, I can't remember with my mind, the feeling I liked you hasn't come back yet, but still, would you please love me? Apple cries while crying. Can I behave like a spoiled child? As much as you like. That's right. Our hips move at the same and Aurora and I climax lightly together. Semen is poured mercilessly inside Aurora's pussy. I don't think to try to put it out outside for a moment. Apple trembling with instinct from the back of the waist while watching it. I embraced her as it is. It was my first hug with her. The snow is blowing violently. Andy, will he be alright? What do you mean with I'm alright? I smell something uncomfortable, Layla. Diane, somewhat it may be dangerous. What happened? This snowstorm smells of a dragon. Chapter 39. Blue Dragon Attack Aurora. Apple, you are listening at novelfull.audio. On my lower body, Aurora had started the second round. However, the upper half of my body continues to be embraced by Apple who began to depend on me. Ooh, that's right, really, you wanted to do so, right? Aurora whispers into Apple's ear while shaking her waist which spills semen on me. Apple sucked on my lips instinctively and nodded suddenly. No, after all, I was scared. I don't remember anything, and, choo, I don't even know why I love you, Mo. I was scared. Apple repeatedly kisses my lips in between her words and seemed to breathe love instead of air by just kissing me. But, only my body doesn't stop, I thought that only I was excited and hated it, I'm not really loved and I'm not the only one unilaterally tempted to ask for this person, choo. Because everyone else says they are female slaves, I thought that everyone is manipulated by some kind of method and I'm not restrained by misunderstanding the other party who only wants to have sex. Well, it was a despising thing, giggling. Aurora doesn't stop moving her hips to grind my penis with her vagina. Diane.sama, the dragon Layla.san, and Zeros.san, we didn't simply fall in love with Andy.san's penis. Andy.san is a courageous person. You're a person who has the courage to be able to choose not only the courage as the hero who knocks down something but also can have a hard time very much for the ones that you want to protect. I fell in love with the warmth of your heart that can't exhaust by the depth of your chest, but, I don't know anything like that, I don't know, therefore, choo, I was scared. I'm sure, even if I was deceived, say you can run away once the role, if you like me, no matter how good you are alone, you will not be able to get away. That will make me understand, Apple, that's why. I confess to Apple with the power of the whole body. Well then swear I won't let you go, maybe I will die before you grow old, but surely everyone will never die earlier than me, but while Apple is alive, you are mine Apple, because I love you. Apple trembled. A half-elf, why? I love half-elves, it's because of you, I don't feel attracted to ordinary people, you are poor at cooking. Cooking can be done quite by myself, you can't use a bow or a sword. I can't use them. Is your bottom big? A reward, isn't it? Dancing isn't good at all either. Mao. How many complexes this girl has. Because Selenium is talented, she might think that she is incompetent. I don't know if I can't do anything about that. You can see the big buttocks and breasts. What I like about you is not the problem of such a part, but I want you anyway. Because I believe that you're my lover for a long time, even if it is said that it is different now, it is troublesome. Even if you can't be asked, even if you can't show it, rest assured that you will reveal, and rest assured that you don't have to worry. You're mine, you have the obligation to be loved by me from corner to corner. Apple shivered strongly. Did she realize that every nook and cranny of her body is aiming for me? What a terrible confession. While listening to that confession, Aurora also shook her waist and lightly waved. Well. Andy.san, such a hot confession, can I ask for it too someday? Oh, Aurora, even if I'm an elf, if I imagine how my beloved will confess, it will be just like that. Apple.san, here. Looking at it, Apple is completely moist, her breathing becomes rough and her waist is shattered. Even if she is raped by a child now, she won't be able to resist. It was amazing enough. You. Apple, she narrows her eyes, sticks out her tongue without knowing, and the back muscles constantly suffering from convulsions. Apple is perfectly in estrus, perhaps imagining her body following the same fate as Aurora. Something overflows from the crotch in front of me. Adaptation is about to end even while being embarrassed by such body and mind. Aurora, hoo-hoo. There is no helping it. Then, Aurora raised her waist and my muddy dick appeared. Pencil that has been intersected with someone else until now, there is also a degree of obscurity. I take Apple's hand and lead Apple on my penis. Aurora, who has semen dripping down from her crotch and keeps herself upwind, helps me and leads Apple, by taking off her clothes and make her become naked while I'm watching. I am jealous of your breasts, and as Aurora keep rubbing both of Apple's melons, she guides the waist over my dick. I attach my hands to Apple's waist and set it in place. Apple is at the mercy of all. And her groin was getting wet as if it was a tough match. Apple, I want to do love with you, yes, good. Yes, my lovey-dovey is terrible, it doesn't end by 3 or 4 shots without pulling out. You will still be violated even if you have a full womb. Of course, we will kiss constantly and I will massage your breasts and butt until marks are attached. Maybe I'll end up messing around with your butthole, too. Therefore, are you sure? Yes. She said it. Although it was a most threatening warning, Apple shakes her head vertically. I nodded towards Aurora. That looks like feathering behind Apple. Okay, I will start. I pulled down Apple's waist. Keku. Apple's young vagina, seen many times in my dreams. She is not in a coma during this time, Apple is in a perfect state of real estrus. Apple seems to have come by it. Her squirting vagina, shabby expression, and the gushing tide are telling me. However, I don't take hold with knowing it. I don't want to stop it. Now, a lot, let's move. AAA. Immediately, Aurora stuck tightly to the back of Apple and forces the swing to resume. There were 2 people and no escape place. I will hunt down the chance that Apple is in estrus. This time Apple is mine. I suppose I wanted Apple so badly that I can't wait. What Apple was looking for is certainly here. We compel Apple to have sex without breathing as if to beat it. Apple itself wanted to be taught by stepping and destroying reason. It was strangely transmitted to Aurora and me. Great, this is, I wanted at that time, that's right, my penis, sex. Apple swings her waist as if she was shaken by Aurora. I thrust up too hard. Again and again. I was overly impressed and I myself ejaculated many times inside Apple's crotch, even I myself didn't know the moment of ejaculation. Even if Aurora got tired once and got caught aside, Apple moved her hands on my chest or attached them to my head and constantly moved her hips. Promptly I ejaculate constantly and we repeat kissing more than I seek. When I noticed it was dusk. It is evening, isn't it? I have to go home even if she got exhausted on top of me. Apple that is loosely moving her waist has remembered to call home. Hey, Apple. Apple, E. Let's continue at the inn. When I caressed her head, the estrus finally calmed down and she seemed to be sane. Tired, regrettable, but we have to temporarily stop, Awawa. Apple tries to get away in a hurry but she is running out of physical strength so she fell down on my waist before trying to get up. Like this, very normal. Yes, it is normal if you love each other. Apple is curled up between Aurora and me. However, Aurora, even if it thinks of the tolerance power in spite of the least by far the best age, she is a vessel too. When we dressed firmly and then went outside, the sky became dark, the flickering snow was accompanied by a strong wind and was able to hit from the side. It's a snowstorm, this is, cold. The forest territory where Aurora lives is quite in the south. It's not as tropical as it is, so it will rain and snow there too, but there's not much to be piled up and the snowstorm won't appear. Don't leave my side, don't lose sight of the way. Wait a moment, cold. I pull the hands of Aurora and Apple and begin to advance the road to the city. Suddenly Aurora's hand was nervous. What happened? Lie down, something is. Following Aurora's instructions, Apple and I crouched into the snowy road or almost a snow entrance. Aurora puts her hand on the handle of her sword. At that moment, she cuts through the curtain of the snow. Metallic sound. In other words, Aurora's sword repelled something. What? Arrows. In this blizzard, Northern Elf, if you're proud then say your name. The answer is an arrow. Again Aurora repels the arrow with her sword. Such a trick can be done only by Aurora who is an ace knight. I can't even react first. Northern Elves, it sounds like more difficulties than I thought. Are you okay, Aurora? I'd like to say, I'm okay. At least my vision and footing are good. Damn, let's move by crouching and walking. If we reach the town, they surely won't follow us. Taking Apple and Aurora, we slowly move through the snow entrance. Nonetheless, my foot hasn't fully recovered. Since the sensation is backwardly blurred, there is no worry that bone fractures or sprains are occurring, so I can move using my knee, but doing it does not deliver a satisfactory speed. Sorry. I wish I had healed my leg a little more. Apple, please go ahead and get Diane or Layla. And then zeros, Andy.San, probably the other's aim is Apple. It is not good to let her leave alone. I see. Well then rather leave me alone and the both of you go together. That can't be done. Your heart will be pierced through. Is it useless? It's no use. I am anxious, but I only have to go forward. At the moment I thought, the blizzard stops for a moment. And the sky which was originally dark becomes darker. Looking up, a shadow. For legs, wings and long neck. Dragon, Layla. No, its body color is blue. Aurora pushed me away as she jumps. Apple also jumps. A blue dragon landed at the place we were just now. I found you, impurity. From the back of the dragon, a young male elf with a bow appears. Oh my god. The extreme guy who the Baron mentioned. Besides, he is a dragon rider. Die. He releases an arrow without being interrupted. In a panic, Aurora stretches her sword, but she doesn't make it in time for the ray. Damn it. I hurriedly reached out my hand. And my arm was hit. The arrow stuck in my hand which stretched in and stopped. Did I escape penetration thanks to a thick leather coat? But it hurts. Andy.San that Aurora and Apple scream at the same time. Run away from here. Apple, Aurora, hurry. Now that the opponent's aim is completely focused on me, there is no point in protecting me. I kick the two who hesitate and I desperately throw my crutch after them. There is no reason to escape in such a way. The opponent is a winged dragon and a skilled archer. Still, as long as Layla and Diane are at hand, we will manage. If I can earn a long time even for a moment until their arrival. Do you feel like escaping? The elf further releases more arrows. Those aimed at Apple are prevented by Aurora. That fits perfectly indeed. The elf clicks his tongue and turned his eyes on me. Hindrance. It seems that there is no such rule that doesn't involve a person who is unrelated apparently. Shooting the unarmed, you coward. At least for the resistance, I cried, for stimulating the opponent's pride. A human that will ruin the forest with shoes and feet talks about morality. The elf said it in a cold voice and turned his bow at me. Is the target my heart? Head. I only have to sacrifice my arms and avoid fatal injuries. When? Hey youth, I want to ask for the way. A man in a cloak with a horse was standing in the nearby shade. The young elf and I were startled. I lost sight of the road in the storm. The man with gloves, a cloak, and goggle with thick glasses, spoke to me without regard to the dragon standing in front of his eyes and the elf on its back. Uncle, run away. Aren't you seeing that? I was astonished and shouted at the man. Oh, wait a moment. My visibility is bad. The old man scoops goggles with casualness. Then, he stares at my fingers, following the direction, and acknowledges the figure of that huge dragon. Huge, don't say huge, run away, or you will die. Well, don't panic. Let's hear the way anyway. Which way is it to the city? That way. Go quickly. No, wait. Young man, you are struck by an arrow, you need some medical treatment. Hey. What is this, uncle? Foolish human, do you even understand the danger? The young elf knock an arrow. The old man doesn't interfere and walks towards me. Old man. Get down. I shouted while praying. Although I don't mind at all, I don't want to see people who aren't related to being killed. The arrow is released. And then. The old man took a step back with his feet. The arrow grazes the uncle's chest and stabs the ground. Isn't it dangerous? The old man looked up at the elf and complained. He resumed walking towards me as it was. What kind of nerves does he have? Are you mocking me, human? Don't be so. A demon will be born in your heart when you are too angry. Die. 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 I don't know what really makes him angry, but the young male elf shoots arrows toward the old man one after another. Basin. 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 The uncle smoothly avoided them with staggering foot movement. And then, he sighs. Please put an end to it. What, you? Eei. Even if he shoots the old man, he judged that he wouldn't hit him, so the young elf points the arrow to me again. At that time, the old man showed a bad mood for the first time. I'm saying you should put an end to it, and the arrow is released toward me. The old man moved forward with one step and took the arrow with his stretched cloak. The avoidance of the arrow may be a coincidence or magic. But this is at least an ace knight's skill. Old man, are you a swordsman? Although I am a traveler, I used to be one before. Well, then you will know about a dragon's danger. I was still young. I wasn't alive 100 years ago. That's sort of a problem. The uncle dropped the hood behind and looked up at the dragon and the elf. His brown hair mixed with white. I think that it is worthless, so why don't you go home and sleep? Nonsense. The young elf turns his arrows again. The old man cracks his hands and fingers. An arrow is released. The old man protruded his hands casually. Gown. A shockwave occurred. The male elf is blown off. Not swinging down, a shockwave with a thrust. Phaser. The blue dragon opens its mouth for the first time. It was still young and was a girl's voice. Dragon, it's not the right time for a fight. Why don't you tell that elf? You. The dragon turns to the old man. The old man took some distance from me and looked up calmly. Youth, there is a sword in my horse's back, can you bring it? No matter how you look, he is no ordinary person. As the uncle instructed, I walked desperately toward the horse and take the sword. It was a great sword that seemed to be 1.5 m long. Old man. When throwing, the old man caught it firmly with one hand. With the next move, he sweeps away the sheath. Do you feel like experiencing a dragon slayer? No, the old man replied, and the dragon answered. I'm just a traveler, this is just a self-defense. I thought that the dragon was underestimated, but its eyes glow with anger. Then it spits out a blizzard breath. Old man. Dragon breath is the only way to generate flames and cold air of scale that can mass murder in a moment. And there is no way to prevent that which can be said to be inexhaustible at the moment. The uncle received a direct hit of it. I thought that he was an ice pickle. But when I look closely I can see an unbelievable sight. Oh! He pushed the sword against the ground, hammered a shockwave with his hands at a speed not visible for the eyes, making a barrier in the air. And at the moment when the barrier is fluctuating in a strange way, he pulls out the sword and breaks through a thin place of the breath. He was flying just beside the blue dragon's face with a big jump. Raising his goggles. And swing down his great sword in a second. Nua, ga. As the dragon is pulled up with a huge hand, it blows off to the side and rolls over the snowy field. The weakness of a dragon is too strong, as it believes not to lose to a stronger and more frightening dragon slayer, the landing old man says quietly. Don't underestimate humans, foolish dragon and silly elf. Next time I won't strike with the flat side of my sword. Saying that quietly, his right eye's white of the eyes is blue and the iris is red. Obviously, it wasn't an ordinary eye. Then a black dragon comes flying from the city. A friend. It is mine. Ho, youth. Are you a dragon's retainer? I seem to be classified as a dragon rider. As I said so, the young elf who fell down on the snowy field saw me with astounding eyes. Idiot, you, a dragon rider. What? You too, idiot. What does he mean? Layla flies down beside me. On her back are Apple, Aurora, Diane and Enzeros. And Andy. San. All four jump off the back. Layla doesn't return to her human form and Chibi Layla appeared on my shoulder, while Layla looked at the fallen elf and the blue dragon without disappointment. It is a dragon of Misty Palace. It is near here, a dragon palace near here. Anyway, that's what I know. Well, it's the territory of the elves. I hear it for the first time. Is there such a thing? And how did you defeat it? That blue dragon shouldn't be a weak 1 inch. This old man is, ho, the goggle-wearing old man nods lightly. A traveler passing by, and Zeros saw him and is surprised him before she put her fist on her chest. Yo, you. I say that I'm a traveler, can you read the air? The uncle raises his eyebrows somewhat awkwardly. It's my first time, Sir Bonaparte, traveler. The old man who ignored it looks sad. Sir Bonaparte. You don't know. Count Arthur Bonaparte, it seems like I heard it somewhere before. Sword Saint, Sword Saint. Traveler, old man, Sir Bonaparte seemed to intend to stick to it to the end. Chapter 40. Law and Peace, Selenium Aurora Apple, you are listening at novelfull.audio. The blue dragon and young elf are sitting in the snow. It was Diane and Layla who made them to sit straight. There is no forgiveness with their eyes because I felt dead in the gap that I didn't see in the stones. Well, since General Lucas, it was the second pinch for me they didn't come in time. There will be self-reproach as it is. By the way, the blue dragon was forced to change into its human body by Layla. And because it was naked, the young elf tried to put on clothes on it in a hurry, but the gym clothes that Diane kicked out of his hands were burned outlessly by Layla. You guys have to restrain a little bit more. well, I think it's good enough for them that as we haven't killed them yet, because I am planning to make them to never pull out the bow again, it's still the beginning of the line, please stop playing such cruelty, these people are serious. The Blue Dragon's girl named herself Maya. I have the feeling she looks pretty young. Is it between 14 and 15? Even though the bulging breasts and the pubes are kept seized on the snow as they are rolled out, there is no indication of cold. As expected, she is a dragon, especially an ice dragon. Instead, a deep desire to give up is emerging in her expression. Maya, why did you aim for my master and that slave? Phaser said that both this human and that impurity will come to destroy the Misty Palace. When we open the forest, they will do so either way. It was a previous era, but Phaser absolutely said that, well, you mean to impose all responsibility to that man. That's not it, I will receive punishment, but I am not sure why. This girl says so. Layla directed her gaze to the young elf called Phaser sitting next to Maya. If you are a dragon, watch out for what you say. Gone. Layla kicked the face of Phaser. I really see such a arrogant and ruthless Layla for the first time. Phaser, the girl, Maya, looks worried but does not cause to come up and watches him standing still. Yo, you know, as a dragon, humans are savage creatures. When they enter the forest and know the palace of the ice dragon, they decide to kill and deprive the treasure. In that misty palace, there are only old dragons and female dragons who are not accustomed to fighting. Is he afraid of the future of the Fire Dragon War? Elves are particularly longevity races, so it is said that many people say that at that time vividly. That reminds me, in the Fire Dragon War, the ice dragons rarely participated in the fight and didn't listen to every continent. When Diane turns her gaze to Layla, Layla explains, keeping looking down on Phaser coldly. To begin with, it should have been a part of the coalition. In the first place, the blue, white and silver of the ice dragon race live northward, in the northern continent, the ancient boundary of the elves and the demon territory. The northern elven forest is protected by the boundary of the ruined civilization period, which can't be broken by current magic technology. As long as northern elves don't open from the inside, no one can enter it. If there was a dragon palace behind it, the dragon slayers who were led primarily by humans wouldn't have been able to reach out. Beyond the canyon ranges, on the northeast side of the continent, there is a lawless zone called the Demon Territory. It seems that the occurrence of monsters is particularly intense due to the destruction of labyrinths several hundred years ago, and it is not in the state where ordinary races can live. The dragon palace there was probably untouched. It is convincing that many black-red-yellow dragons of the fire dragon race in central and south of the continent were the protagonists of the Fire Dragon War. Dragon Palace is protected by the elves in the north, that's why, and they lent their hands by being obsessed with the obsession of elves who keep protecting them. It's foolish, even if it's young, it's a laughing kind, as long as the dragon is protected and left to sit. Yes, the girl, Maya, will do it. As she is still a young girl, will she be atrophied to a matured dragon like Layla? Black Dragon, besides that, is it true that you are the dragon rider of this human? Phaser hangs on Layla with a face that doesn't agree. What's wrong with that? Such weak a human, are you crazy, to have him as your dragon rider? What have you got stared? He is a man who can't clothe his teeth. I'm not as strong as you say, but I'm on a dragon. When I countered, Maya answered, not Phaser. You're not a dragon rider if you ride on the back of a dragon. Layla. Dono, you're not teaching, I didn't need it. The dragon and the people of the outside world pierce the inviolable and seldom meet. Maya begins to explain with a quiet voice after seeking Layla's eye contact with the nuance of what to say. He is a dragon knight. The contract with me only lends the wings and power to help him, not more. Somehow, knight seems to be great. Are you really making such an imprudent rider? I should have said you should be careful of your mouth. Moreover, I hurry and pull Layla's hair, who is trying to hurt Phaser, and stop. Maya looked delicate and still kept on speaking. We have signed a contract between rider and dragon, already. What about the collar? That's right, isn't a collar the highest grade, Layla. Dono. Have you fallen in love with this man? Ho ho, enviable, indeed, I don't understand somehow. To become a dragon rider is to give righteousness and belief to the dragon, to give meaning to the empty power, best supremacy of shoving that way of living together. Yeah, I heard that, you are burdened. Phaser, not taking responsibility. For fighting with me, he just swore it. Maya has a slightly sad face. Phaser starts flaring up again. It is the power of the dragon. It must be surplus in the small things. It can't bear responsibility. That man is sworn only to swear by his own mouth, it will only be taking advantage of your power. Maya, I wonder if this can be regarded as an insult to us. Optionally, can I kill him? I have no right to stop you, Maya.sama. Hey! That blue dragon, you abandoned your own husband. Let's choose to burn and die or break apart. Lala, wait. Don't kill him for such a little thing. You aren't such a character. I desperately pull Layla. Layla looked frustrated. Even if you let him live, he just envies us, but it is useless. I don't want to see you doing that. Andy, Layla is outstanding. Next, ask Maya for the real intention. It is too much admission to kill too much. You're that knight, why can you kill that easy? Maya laughed thinly and said ridiculous things. Layla. Dano has even the right to kill me here now. Right. Have you ever heard of the legend of the dragon rider, human? A little, then. Do you even know that dragon rider punish evil dragons? One beat. Dragons forbid the killings of family through a coalition. Killing family members will be punished by the whole family, is that so? But the exception is a dragon rider, a dragon that carries justice, and that even a family killing is only recognized. A dragon without a rider isn't allowed to go against the coalition. Shocking facts. I shouldn't have said it, Andy. A dragon rider is a good existence to manipulate the power of the dragon with its heart. If evil is drowned in power, it is permitted to sever it. It's the same thing with dragons. It is the justice of the dragon riders that can be refused, it is too extreme. I won't disobey Andy. Dano, Layla. Dano. I will accept punishment. I say that, reject, regardless of Phaser, he isn't convinced of Maya's overwhelming preparedness. But I say many times, I'll aim again if you leave it, this kind of idiot. Surely it is, so. There is a good idea. Then we will take Maya as a hostage, ha. Everyone on the spot freezes. I guess it was unexpected. Yes. I thinks it's a nice idea. Phaser is driven back to the forest and we ride on the back of Layla and return to the inn. No way, you have to solve it in such a style, and Zeros makes a bitter face. Ho ho, he is indeed my owner. I can't get out of his hands anymore. Chibi. Layla laughed pleasantly. Maya sacrifices herself to the dragon's law. Phaser is a foolish idiot, stopping as if he pick up a new weapon. The two already diverge. Then, if you threatened Maya as if you could kill her at any time according to the dragon's law, you can drew her into this team. Yup. It's the best answer. They won't be able to attack us until we kill Maya. Maya will not run away from Layla either. And to Maya, if she understands that the current Trot, Celesta and the outside world are not going to kill dragons, and the story becomes faster. Their argument of keeping the forest closed in order to protect the dragon palace will collapse. Ha, young man, indeed is only accepted by a dragon, the vessel is wide. No, well, I just don't want to see humans die in vain. Sir Bonaparte, no, I'm praised even by a traveler. Oh, that's right. It is not good to die. I want Polka to be a more gentle place. I want it to be a healing and peaceful village, welcoming the injured ones. I want my hometown to be so. And although we managed to get settled it peacefully, I was left with an arrow in my arm. It's already late at night, but it's better to heal at the miraculous spring as soon as possible. I want to go to sleep, but it hurts a lot. so, I get into the hot spring with help from Selenium. Hui, it was serious, Andy.san, well, reasonably. It was a lot easier than General Lucas, well, the opponent was a blue dragon, but I wasn't in such a great pinch than at the time with Lucas. Bo, thanks to the traveler. How comfortably it is when you immerse in the hot spring, but then a sound comes from the dressing room. When turning around, Aurora and Apple stood there with a little awkward faces. Andy.san, sorry, we left you behind while we escape. It's okay, it was a bad timing if the old traveler didn't come, but if I lost Apple and Aurora that helped me through that time, I might not loss. But, it's good. I was pretty cool in front of a woman, I am quite satisfied, this is also quite true. Since my leg got injured, I was just relying on my mouth and I was not in a good shape. I wonder if it was limited to this time, that I was cool and useful. Andy.san, two people are still apologizing. When I look at Selenium, she also nods small. At this time, Selenium which has done the long journey together can be easy communicate with. Selenium. Selenium turns around behind Apple, pushed her and let Apple fall in front of me. Say, Selenium.san. Hey, Aurora.san, too, hey, Aurora is hugged and falls down. Both, the thin cloth which had been applied spread at the same time as landing, taken off and exposed their white skins at full throttle in front of Andy. What are you doing? What does it mean? So, I grab hold of two shoulder, I should better say boobs from behind and hold them. Cayenne, what, you're both naked and you will be punished, right? Yes. Andy.san is so lewd. Whether it's a bit wet clothes or a momentary grass, but this is fine here. Rising up in the hot water, I push down the two from behind compassionately. Adding Selenium to the two people lying on rocks at the edge of the bathtub, 3 hips arrange in front of me. He. Elves and half-elves, a comparison of 3 different flavors of different regions, that, Andy.san is, it is already vulgar. But this is Andy.san, a lewd person rubbing 3 hips, I lick the white skins floating in the dark. And start the party with the nearest hip. First of all, Selenium. Ah. It feels good, Selenium. Because it's a hole exclusively for Andy.san to use. Stirring up the hot water by creating waves, I grab the butt of Selenium and start the act. My left foot still doesn't work, but there is a cover by somehow shifting the center of gravity. Tasting one after another, I went next to Aurora. Andy.san, you like to play greedy, aren't you? To be precise, it becomes a luxury play in the present large household if you are not careful much, well, but this, as a preference, I don't dislike it. A female slave completely attached to the board, I'm honored to receive compliments from you. After having tasted the sensual vagina a bit more, I finally went to Apple's vagina. Apple, Andy.san. When I look closely, a collar hangs on Apple's neck again. Selenium brought it out and returned it to Apple during this time, but it was still hard to get fit. This collar, yes, I attached it, somehow after all, nostalgic, encouraging, after all I thought this was important, I really thought. Is that so, Yaba, I am very happy, while stroking the collar, I accelerate naturally and pierce Apple. The reciprocating motion in a tilted posture is quite a burden, but here is the miraculous spring, so it's no problem. And I am. It has increased, Andy.san, I know, my inside, I will pull it out. On top of 3 people who gather their buttocks one after another, I released my semen grandly. AAA. Mao. I get pregnant, I wanted, pulling out, 3 people raise unsatisfactory voices while my semen is released. Well, can you stop complaining? This is just because I wanted to do it once as a trifle taste, I will have sex with you one by one from now on, so be prepared for it. If you do that, I won't be dissatisfied. PL, please. 3 superb women show motivation again. I will do my best. I ended up coming twice each after all. Afterwards we came back to the inn. The time past midnight and the lights in the hallway are almost out. Ha! It was too close. While immersing in a somewhat satisfied feeling, I went to my room while stumbling and hitting the wall. I was touched on the shoulder on the way. Who? Is it Diane, Layla, or Jean who have night vision ability? I thought that the voice was a low and deep voice. There is only a wall there, youth, old man. Yes, it's me, the old traveler. He is laughing satisfactorily. When I become an old man like you, will I understand the wall with a sign? No way, I don't feel any signs on the walls. Well, there are people who can walk through the labyrinth even by closing their eyes, by relying on the reflection of the sound. In my case, my eyes are special. I can see both the darkness and the blizzard. I got good eyes. Give it back. I got it from the holy beast of the Holy Land. That guy is immortal. Even if it is killed, it will be resurrected in a few days. It is clawed in 3 days even if eyes are past. I lost my right eye in the war. I tried to heal here a few years ago because it had gone bad while I was retreating, but it couldn't heal. That's why the holy beast gave it to me. The holy beast is the guardian of the sacred place, right? Isn't it forbidden to hit it? Hit it. More or less I had a duel and received the eye as spoil of war. You made a duel with the holy beast for 1 eye. I was a bit inconvenient. This man is too out of the standard. But, aren't you old enough to retire slowly? Is not it something you don't have to do with all that kind of blood? Haha. It is often said. For a moment he drops his voice. It was like being stagnant in the nature and the heart clouding his voice rather than being conscious of something. But I could do it before I die, old man. A day off, youth. Your room seems to be there. Yes, the dark low voice, somehow, left something that hangs heavily down in my heart.